So, yesterday, Dune Awakening dropped a live stream which covers combat. I think they cover some classes, some of the abilities and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and take a break from today's Baldur's Gate 3 stream as we're enjoying patch 8 to go watch this. Now, it is, thank you for the drink, Chris. It is a couple hours long. Although there's some stuff on either side, we just clipped 15 minutes out of it because they had a 15-minute countdown, so we're just going to start from here. Yeah, we interrupt this program to bring you a very important coverage of an equally epic game, as Thandar says. um, so I've been talking about Dune Awakening for a few years now. I love the Dune universe. I was very nervous when Funcom was the company announced because I'm not a huge PvP player and I had concerns about that. But those concerns have been abated because this is not a PvP game. It has PvP in it, but it is 100% optional. This is a crafting survival game set on the planet of Arrakis with base building, vehicle building. It's multiplayer. There is PvP stuff you can go do if you want to, but mostly it's just about having fun and surviving and building bases and stuff. Thank you very much. I've been covering. En serio? She accidentally gave me cat pills, but thankfully she caught herself because we're doing cat medicine. She just brought me my vitamins. Anyway, if you haven't paid attention, I have been covering Dune Awakening for a while now. Um, I'm currently in a limited beta preview event that's kicked off in early, like mid-April. That's going sort of to the end. It's like 2 weeks, and I've already uploaded a dozen videos that will be coming out at the end of the month that you guys can watch when the embargo goes down for those of us who have been allowed to create content around it. The game was initially, I think they just pushed back the launch date yesterday during this live stream. It may be mentioned in this live stream, but it's now coming out June 10th with the early access, Head Start access starting on the 5th of June. So this video, like I said, is covering combat classes and abilities. I haven't watched it yet. I was at physical therapy yesterday. Otherwise, I would have live streamed this event. But since I was at physical therapy yesterday, we're gonna watch this today while I eat breakfast. So I'm gonna mute my mic and let these guys do the talking. So without further ado, let's dive in. For those of you watching this after the fact on YouTube, don't forget to check the links down below. There's going to be some links to their stuff. There's some affiliate link stuff going in there, so I will personally benefit from things. So just check it all out. And of course, the playlist, because I will be continuing to cover Dune Awakening, and you'll be continuing to see videos from me from preview events from the closed beta. I've been a part of that since last year. It's shaping up to be something special. Let's click the play button and see what we can see. They don't appear to have audio. Whoa, did they have some technical issues? I think they did.
Awaken.
Hang on. That's funny.
Combat
I thought it was me. That's funny.
improvement, so there's no concern, there's no reason.
I'm trying to catch up. Yep, there is. Oh, so she realized it and was like, she's like looking, someone's like, hey, you don't have audio. Poor Natasha. It's never good when you put on the spot like that and you're live. Yeah, you're almost, I'm saying you're good. That's funny. She's doing mimes and stuff.
Hello,
There we go.
welcome, hi, to our second Dune Awakening live stream here out of our Oslo offices. Again, hiccups happen. I'm still here, we are still here. I hope everyone is still watching. But anyway, we have a lot to go through. I hope you are well hydrated and you're sitting comfortably. Before we go over the segment and what's coming up, some information for those of you who might have missed it. We have moved the release date for Dune Awakening from the 20th of May to the 10th of June with a head start on the 5th of June. That will give us a little bit of more time to work on some improvements. So there's no concern, there's no reason for concern. We just wanted to work on a few things a little bit longer, and hopefully it makes for a better gameplay experience for everyone as well. And more importantly, it gives us the time to do non-NDA beta weekends on a large scale where you can be streaming, you will be able to talk about the game, you will make videos.
I didn't know they were going to do that. That's cool.
Exciting to you. So that was one of the reasons as well.
Yeah, if they're going to do an open beta weekend for everybody,
so
I can tell you it's fun. The game's a lot of fun. Keep an eye out for that then.
We'll be talking about the vision of our
I don't know when that's happening, but
Dune Awakening.
if they're going to do an open beta weekend, y'all should do it for sure.
And group combat. We might even show some PvP, who knows? And then we will also have a segment about server structure, because we know a lot of you were kind of concerned, or some of you were concerned about Head Start and how it will be working, playing with your friends, playing with guilds and groups and such. So we go over that as well. And then towards the end, we'll also have a Q&A, of course, where we collect questions throughout the stream and then answer those with some of our guests. But before we dive into the combat section, let's watch a quick video.
Few survive this world, but those who do awaken. The desert wants you dead, off-worlder. If the sands don't take you, the storms will swallow you whole. But you don't have to walk this path alone. In every danger, there is opportunity. The foundation of something greater. A power waiting to be harnessed. Desert power. Some claim to rule this planet. But Arrakis is yours to explore. To fight for. To conquer. But there are forces beyond even your control. Master Arrakis, and it will open your mind. This is your path to awakening.
Welcome back. So, combat, we have seen your comments, your feedback on combat and what we have shown so far. So obviously we want to show you more. And to talk about combat, I have two guests with me now, two very interesting guests, and they really know what they're talking about. For one, I have Viljar here, game director on Dune Awakening. Viljar, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Hi, I'm Viljar. I've been on the project for about 5 years, game director. Other projects I've worked on, I started at Funcom 25 years ago, working on Anarchy Online. I also worked here at on Age of Conan. I did some travel in between. I worked on the Syndicate shooter. I worked on Hitman Absolution and Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
He's been around for a while.
So a lot of things that are very relevant as well to
and that's why he's a game director.
And combat in Dune Awakening too. And then also, last but not least, we have Alex, lead combat designer. Alex, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Alex, lead combat designer on Dune Awakening. With Funcom, I've been for like 16 years now, with the last big project being Conan Exiles. Yeah.
Has it been 16 years?
It's been 16
That's
years.
kind of
That feels
crazy.
super old. It's great. I love
That's
it.
crazy. I remember doing like Con Exile streams with you back in the days as well. It was super fun too.
It's good times.
Yes, good times. Anyway, now we're actually talking about combat in Dune Awakening though. And to talk about combats, we also have to talk about the vision of our combat in Dune Awakening, which is we kind of want to raise the bar when it comes to combat in open world survival games specifically. But what does that actually mean, Viljad?
Yeah, so when we set out, we wanted to make the best combat experience in the survival game genre. Combat in Dune Awakening is about the interplay between ranged, melee, and abilities. It is responsive and reactive.
It's
It is
also very
about
interesting because they have to
positioning
deal with the
and
lore of how
movement.
shields
Quick
work.
in, quick out. Players focused on ranged and players focused on melee should have equal opportunity to succeed, but everyone will need to use abilities. Now, playing optimally means switching playstyle depending on the situation. Use ranged weapons as someone approaches, then quickly switch to melee as they get near.
So basically combat is fast and with a lot of movement, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we are less about the perfectly timed button press, but more about the overall tactic, like reading the combat environment.
I can
So
say
we
that's
look more to
very
action
true in
games
the
than
beta
traditional
so
survival
far.
games when it comes to building. when it
Like
comes
you
to
have to be
building or
aware of the
combat. So
situational. You have to have
we are
situational
not
awareness to
going
survive.
for a Souls-like approach to combat.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important to mention as well. Like actiony, but not Souls-like. And in that context, I
Does the
think it's also
combat
very
remind me of
important to
another combat
mention
system?
that the combat has to work both in a solo and in a group gameplay. Group.
I mean, it's
gameplay.
just
That's
kind
a
of your.
difficult thing.
I don't want to say
Group
they're not.
play-
They're not.
Group gameplay setting. There we go. Thank you, Brain.
They're not like
There we go.
breaking any
Not hiccup.
Yeah, so
like new territory with their combat.
we need to
So
support
it's not like
solo
they're
gameplay,
breaking the
as
wheel.
as you said.
know?
So
it's
as a
pretty
solo player,
standard
you really
action
should try
combat.
to separate enemies from the group. So try to approach it with a divide and conquer mentality. Abilities provide great opportunities for this approach, basically. So
I
you can
will
command
say
a
that the
single
class,
NPC to
the
come to you,
archetype
or you
system
can use a
that they
gravity
have,
grenade to
you can take
to,
any ability
keep
in the game.
enemies behind
So
them
you
at
could
bay,
theoretically build whatever
or
build you
even
want,
use a
but there's
shield
also
wall,
like
which is normally
archetypes.
used for cover to actually put it in place of someone who approaches you, and then it will slow them down, giving you more react to come up with your tactics to deal with them.
But there is a cover
And
system.
sometimes it's okay to bravely run away. You can
Sort of.
disengage
Not
with
like
the
direct
Shigawai
cover,
claw, or
but
even
you do need to use
meat
cover to
charge,
your
which
advantage.
are-
You get abilities that
which
put
can
cover
be
in
seen as
place.
combat tools,
Shields
but
are
also
important.
as good tools to get away from combat when you need to.
Shields can be
And,
penetrated,
yes,
but they are important.
on the co-op side, playing with friends is easier, but you still need to be careful and not pull everyone at the same time. Like the paradigm that we worked with is 1 enemy is fine, 2 will provide a challenge, and 3 should be hard. So if you go beyond that, you kind of brought it on yourself.
Good point. In the end, there. You mentioned abilities and tools and things. One thing that's very important in the game as a whole is basically be able to customize your kind of experience, right? Like that goes into character customization, it goes into how you want to play outside of combat too, but more importantly, it really also goes into kind of customizing your own combat and your playstyle, right?
Yes, that's correct. So one of our pillars is expression and customization, and this is something that we follow throughout everything that we do in the game. So it's not just about making your character look the way that you want, but it's also developing the combat style that you want. You can, of course, fully commit to an archetype to play out a specific
Which is what
Dune
I've been
fantasy,
doing.
but you can also pick from all the skill trees if you want to take a more of a generalist approach.
I'm playing a Mentat.
And if
And
you
I
talk
really,
combat, of course,
that's,
we also
that's,
have to
I'm
talk
going heavy
weapons.
into that
For one,
archetype.
ranged weapons. We've seen quite a few ranged weapon in examples of combat videos that we've shown, but can you tell us a little bit more about ranged combat in specific?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of ranged weapons in our game, and luckily the Dune lore actually supports this. It's mentioned many, many times in the Dune books. However, our approach with the mechanics and everything is that they're spring-loaded and mechanical. So we use dodge instead of bullets, which give them kind of a different feel to what you use from other
Yeah, it can't be
other
las
games.
guns.
I'll mention a few examples, like we have something called the drill shot. This will fire burrow darts. It will hit a shield and burrow through. And if you don't do a dash to counter that, it will go through the shield and damage you directly. But as I mentioned, you can do a dash, assuming you have the stamina, and then they will fall to the ground. So you have to be aware of these things and use dash and stamina elegantly and with purpose. We also have weapons, ranged weapons that you might see are similar to other games. For instance, we have something called the Karpov, which is an assault rifle. So.
And then we also have a disruptor, which is kind of like an SMG, right? That's specific to the gameplay as well. That's kind of important too.
Yes, of course. So we have the disruptor, which is very effective at taking down a shield. So if you see someone coming towards you with a shield on, quickly switch it to your disruptor. Try to take down the shield and take them out before they get close to you.
And shields are important.
And when we talk
in this
about
game.
shields, of course, they are a very important part of the Dune universe. Melee combat as well, which we know that's one of the
slow
topics
blade
that a lot
pierces
of
the
people have
shield.
talked about, because we haven't really shown that or explained it that much in showcases or videos specifically. So let's talk about shields and melee.
Yeah, so on the melee side, we have swords, we have rapiers, we have the kinjal, we have the crysknife. Swords deal damage in an area, but they are kind of slow. You do a swing, but it's kind of slow compared to the kinjal, which is very fast, but only focuses on one enemy at a time. So even there, you can play as you like. And of course, our shields, they work a little different from what you're used to in other games, I think. Our shields actually go down when you shoot, which makes you vulnerable. So you go into an encounter and start shooting, and suddenly you wonder why you take a lot of damage. Your shield went down. Now, this can be used, this also works the other way. So if you go against an enemy, if you time it right, you see them start firing, and then you dodge out of the way, and then you start damaging them. So it's about looking for windows of opportunity while dodging out of the way from damage. So you can, of course, do the melee approach, where your shield won't go down when you attack. However, you're still vulnerable to the slow blade attack. This is a special attack where if you're fighting against a shielded enemy, with a little bit of extra effort, you can actually press through their shield to deal damage through their shield. So you're never completely safe. And the last thing I'll mention on this is that you can be staggered by various attacks, in which case you should use the dash, as I mentioned already. And again, it uses stamina, so manage this carefully.
So the dash is kind of a get out of jail free card sometimes, as long as you have
I'm
stamina,
very interested
right?
to see
Exactly.
what they're going to
And if
show.
you talk shields and weapons,
Because I could talk so
we
much
have
right
to
now, but
mention
I
the
don't know what
Lascans
they're going to
too.
show yet, and I don't want to
Of
break my
course.
NDA.
Right,
So I'm
the
very
Lascans.
interested to
So
see how they're going to show things.
The way that the Lascans
'Cause I
work
can
in
say it's a
lore
very
is
cool
that
combat
if you fire
system.
a Lascan at a shield, you get an atomic explosion. And
Yeah, this is why you
funnest that
can't
may
use
seem in the short
lasers.
term, we deemed it impractical. So
I like that. It's like we deemed it impractical.
This
It's
is the
like
lore
have
from the
ex-
books.
like
If you use
nuclear
lasers
explosions
against
all over
shields,
the
it's an
map
We haven't
atomic
worked,
constantly.
explosion.
but we've
So
figured it out that it's probably not for the best.
it's
for the greater good of the
projectiles,
game.
but
Probably not.
projectiles
Yeah, it would
can't
be
pierce the
hilarious maybe for a
shields.
day or so, but
That's
then
why
as
everybody
it
wears
was fun,
shields.
players would get
Slow
tired of
blades
it.
attack can
Yeah,
pierce the
So the way
shields.
we did it is
It's all
that
from the
the
lore of the
Emperor
books.
decreed that any Lascan produced or crafted on Arrakis will have a safety. So basically, if you try to fire a Lascan at someone who's shielded, the Lascan just will refuse to fire.
Right.
So that's how we dealt with
Yeah,
that.
as a kind of a elegant solution to the whole problem. Also, if we talk Holtzman tech, which the shield is of course a Holtzman tech, we have more Holtzman tech in the game, of course.
Yes. Yeah, so you have the Holtzman, the suspensor belts, and these are really good for both traversal and combat. So you can use them during combat to get out of trouble, or you can use it to descend upon your enemy. It's not an ability per se, but it's one aspect of the game which supports other abilities and how you use them.
I love them. They're really fun, and there's like different types of them too. Like hover, you can control it like more up and down and vertically, or just fall damage and things like that.
Yeah.
You briefly also mentioned the Dune fantasy earlier on, and of course, if you talk about that, we have archetype, like we call them in the game, that are very much going into this Dune fantasy of like, we have characters that people might know from the books or the movies, like Duncan Idaho, Swordmaster, for example. And for example, we also talked melee. We do actually have a Swordmaster archetype in the game, right?
Yeah, so we have the Swordmaster. They're of course melee focused. So some of the abilities that they have are deflection, where they can actually run towards an enemy who's firing darts at them and deflect those darts and don't take damage. They have the knee charge, which is very practical when you want to knee kick someone. But again, you can also use it for traversal to get away or get into the action if you want. And then they also have something called the Eye of the Storm, which is a whirlwind that will attack everything that they hit. It will damage everything they hit around them. And I want to mention this specifically for the beta players, because we've actually reworked how this whirlwind attack works. So the next version that you'll play will be much cooler.
There we go. A little bit of a nugget for the beta
Teaser.
players. Thank you for all your feedback, by the way. It's very valuable and very much appreciated. Also, I am very much a Swordmaster at heart. I also like Retaliate, for example, which is a super cool skill, but we don't go into detail about that. You can try that out soon, hopefully yourself. But if we talk about archetype, some of you might have started watching the show or watching the show, the Bene Gesserit TV show that's now available. I think it's on
Dune
HBO,
Prophecy.
if I remember
Yeah, it was
correctly.
HBO.
Don't copy it. Maybe I think I'm right. But we also have a Bene Gesserit archetype tree as well, right?
Yes, we do have the Bene Gesserit, and they're all about voice powers and supreme muscle control. So they have abilities like the Bindu Sprint, where they can run at incredible
They've got a
speed,
benchmark
run into
tool
combat,
available
or
on
run away
Steam
from
right now,
combat.
Mithril. You can
They
actually
have
go
the
download
Compel,
that
which is
benchmark
where they
tool and see how
where
it'll
they can
perform
command someone to
on your
get to
computer,
them and
even if you have an old potato.
incapacitate them for a bit until you and actually give you time to damage them before they regain.
You might be surprised. I have no idea. I have no idea what you're running, but you can check it out. Check out the benchmark tool.
Ability where they can move superhumanly fast behind someone and then attack from the back.
So these are, of course, only two of the archetype trees that we mentioned, but it's kind of surprising as well because, or not surprising, because those are my favorite ones. I go with them a lot, and I love combining the Swordmaster and the Bene Gesserit trees because they just work so well together, especially also if you like melee. But we'll see more on that a little later in the combat segment. If we talk about the Dune universe, of course, we need to talk about spice. Spice is important in the game for pretty much everything. It influences politics, it influences economics, it influences your character in all different kind of interesting and special ways, and it also influences combat.
Yeah, so that's true. So we have this special ability called prescience. This is where you gain special powers through spice consumption or even inhaling spice in a spice field. If you don't have if you're not wearing a spice mask for protection. So in the game, you start with two abilities, and then when you play the story, you will unlock a third ability at the same time as you unlock the spice prescience feature. So this is a very cool, very powerful mode to be in, where you will reduce the cooldowns on all of your abilities by quite a lot. You'll deal a lot more damage from your abilities, from range, from melee. You'll even become immune to poison. And additionally, it will actually trigger what we call capstone skills. So these are special passive skills that you invested in the various skill trees that we have. And they will only be active when you're in this special mode. So a few examples there are the shield overcharge, where you can actually see vulnerabilities in others' shield, and you can focus on those vulnerabilities and take down their shields faster. We have the Bindu dodge, where it appears as if dodge and blade attacks pass through you. Your health will regenerate at an accelerated pace as well. But what's really helpful to get an eye to understand the battlefield is it will highlight enemies. You will see their health, their weapons, their ammunition, and also the type of NPC that you will be dealing with. And it lasts for quite some time as well. It's a very powerful mode to be in, and it looks pretty cool as well.
Especially with ammunition, even though it's just like, oh, it shows ammunition, that's not that important. But it actually shows you when you have an opportunity or a window to actually attack. Because yes, exactly, because NPCs have to reload as well. They kind of react very much like players have to as well.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of information. A lot of talk, and we're actually now going to show you how that actually looks in gameplay. We'll have Alex here
Hopefully.
play like a pro, like the pro he is, because he really knows what he's doing. No pressure, no pressure.
He's played
Alex.
mouse and
Yes.
keyboard.
Let's see
Worth
where we
understanding
go to.
is that the controller is
We
already
have this
integrated,
character set
has
in
been
a
for the
location
past
of our
year,
choosing
works very well.
to
I use the
showcase
controller
the
for all of
combinations
my gameplay.
experiences that our players will be able to have. Combat is a dance of multiple things, and we have a wide selection of very interesting toys that we'll demo here so that our viewers can see and experience.
So this will be solo combat 1st, right? Just to make that clear.
Ooh, we're actually low on water. I forgot to solve that problem beforehand. And we're
No.
standing in the sunlight.
See, that's why you should always be prepared if you go
Right,
out. Make
absolutely.
sure you have enough
We
water.
will
Make
not
sure you
cheat
have,
to fix this problem.
enough
We will suffer the consequences
because we can cheat.
we will find water in the location that we go to. As you see here, we've begun to be dehydrated. But sorry,
Yes.
It's very much worth mentioning that you'll be having fewer dashes because you're low on hydration.
Yeah, when you're
Your
low on
stamina
hydration, you have
actually
less
gets,
stamina,
like, yeah, limited.
and your regen
if you
goes
can
way
see
down.
where the pips are on the bottom left of the screen above the hydration icon, every time you cross that threshold, you're given a bonus to your stamina. Right now,
That's
because
your
we're below
water,
both of the
is what he's
thresholds,
talking
we
about.
Do not have that bonus.
There's two
It's a
lines.
missed
When you're at
statistical
1/3, you get a
opportunity.
bonus.
And
When
you
you're
have
at
bonus.
2/3,
And
you
the
get a
health is
bonus. So
gonna
the more
take it down.
hydration
We
you
have a
have,
challenge. We'll
the
overcome
more
the challenge.
bonuses
I
you have
promise.
to your
And
stamina.
on the same time, you're also sunstroke.
I'm also sunstroke, yes.
So
Everything that's going
if
bad
it
will
rains
go
in
bad.
pores, right? Even it's a
Absolutely.
rockis,
lovely.
it's a rockis, but it
Yes.
still rains in pores.
It's
Yeah.
pouring sunlight.
Go for it.
So, first, I'm going to talk about the tools that we're bringing, and then I'm going to touch on the skills that we have equipped for this character. This character specifically going to be for my playstyle. Let's talk about first the equipment. We have a selection of items: healing, melee, disruptor, rifle, scattergun. These all have their uses. I will use them interchangeably in combat. We have a armor kit. This is light armor. This is more focused around dashing and dodging and being more protective against melee attacks. We have our battery pack that fuels our two of our primary resources, which is technically they're both pulled from the same pool, the energy pool, which Holtzman shields use, and this is the Holtzman shield, and Holtzman suspensors also. Now we'll quickly show this before we go any further. So I will first activate my shield. Boop, boop. Fantastic.
Nice.
And then, as Vilja said, the unique narrative of Dune forces projectiles to have to put down a shield for them to read it. We must time our gameplay around this mechanic. Then, suspensors. The one I chose is the one I personally prefer the most. It is energy efficient. It doesn't give me vertical velocity, but it allows me to float. Maybe I will have to cheat to solve this water problem. This is becoming poignant.
And you saw that his shield started blinking there. That's because he was low on energy while he was
I'm
suspensoring.
gonna gas out and pop the bubble. There we go. Right. So here we have lost our shield. We have lost the perfect barrier because it is tied to the resource pool. Because we're floating, it will regenerate, and it will re-engage. There we go. Now, in terms of skills, let's have a quick look.
So this is further into the game because he's got all this
Camera
stuff
on my
unlocked.
is hiding a couple of buttons, but I'll pretend I know where they are.
He's
So
got
here-
everything
so here we
unlocked
see
for
our
all the
5
different
archetypes.
classes.
And my choice of skills,
Archetypes, sorry.
for me personally, and because of the setup that we're playing, which is away from the TV a little bit, on remote hardware. So if I miss, it's not my fault, it's the hardware's fault. I'm getting that out of the way now.
No gaming chair either.
No. Knee charge, compel, and assault seeker. In terms of my techniques, which are actions that function passively, I can't read them without glasses, oh my goodness. Right, that I believe it says center of mass. We have energy conservation to give me more juice so that I can fight for longer, float for longer, shield for longer, and death from above to give me benefits to my damage output while I'm floating. With that said, let's do this actually. Let's do a little bit cheating so that people don't see the magic hands while we're fixing the character.
The water consumption.
The water consumption. The thing that our support crew don't
I'm gonna
realize
do
is that
some-
I need
I'm
to see
gonna
the
do
other
some
monitor
water
so that I can fix it
well,
as well.
actually, just
Fantastic.
to-
I'm going to look this way to fix it. magic button there.
Just so we are like aligned with
It's just
our character
completely
too.
fair. There's no problems at all. This is just magic that happens.
Do you need
People
some water as
buffy-
well? Are you
No, I'm
okay?
good. It's fine. So the character's fixed,
Nice.
hydrated, cheating
Perfect.
concluded.
I mean, I've had a lot of fun in
Exactly.
Dune Awakening,
Perfectly
Devon.
planned, perfectly prepared. Nothing happened.
It was all planned
It was
anyway
all
from the
planned.
get-go, so we
And you can
just...
see that even though we're cheating, the health doesn't go
Exactly.
up immediately. You will have
Because-
to regenerate health.
Because we are hydrated, we are regaining
Right,
our
JK.
maximum lost life.
Baldur's Gate 3 looks
Right,
completely
so
different,
we're gonna
guys.
we're going to give it a second so that we don't completely get destroyed, even though we're shielded as we progress forward.
We can also talk about the fact that you're actually wearing a helmet, but you can actually hide the helmet.
Should I
think
show that?
you can. I mean, it's not combat related, but I think a lot
Where
of
is
people
that
are
button, if you
actually
guys remember?
press D. You can press D,
Press the B key.
and there you go. So
There
you have a
it
toggle
is.
here, so you can actually toggle your helmet on and off. And
You
that
will not be
works
able to do
with
such a
full
thing,
armor.
Ergo.
Helmetless in this case. much
Me
better.
too. Like a lot of.
Nor
fights,
should
like,
you,
know,
because
it's
you
fine.
are not the
I don't
Lisa
wanna see-
Nelgaib.
I want to see my
So
the beautiful
you should
face
never
on
be
you
allowed
doing
to
the
use those
character.
types of names when you create a
I
character.
believe.
You can
Unless you
survive.
guys-
You can survive the first encounter. That's just
I
I
hope
saw
so.
it.
And we have DBNO mechanics that will allow me to stand back up again. Let's experience.
And you're
Well,
also,
if not, you have
and you're
an
also being
excuse.
being dehydrated by the sun again.
Still, right. Let's get into the let's get into the shadows. I will. The location we're going to is an Ecolab. It's to the forward left. We're gonna rotate counterclockwise and hit the entrance. I've been in this Ecolab a couple times, so I have a relatively good memory of where the NPCs are. But if I make a mistake, it's not my fault. It's the hardware's fault. We shall begin.
Taking a bold approach here.
This is not. I hit every bullet. It's absolutely not me. We'll reheal, and because we're shielded, we continue to advance. Let's get into it. Let's pressure this. Let's pick up the tempo. I'm gonna go here.
He
rotate
switched to
left,
melee.
Compel core.
There's control, which will pull the mob in,
Thank you.
stun it for a
Dispatch
second.
him easily. We're relatively safe here. This character is by himself. His mate was dispatched. We're shielded. We're in shadow, and we're inside. This is the entrance of our Ecolab location. I used Compel there as one of my skills. In the very beginning of the game, we do not have access, like Vilja said, to all 3 skills. You must experience a certain narrative event before they come online.
Yeah.
At that
You
point-
probably have gotten it at this point in the game
yes.
because it's like 10 hours in or something.
Do you remember which tier we're in right now?
Steel.
Steel tier?
Well, this one is steel tier, but it's placed in Iron tier area.
Right, it's the challenging Ecolab.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites because it is quite long. It has very interesting disposition of rooms, and it forces you to really, really work, especially for the tier that it's in. So we're gonna make our way down the hall. Actually, no, we'll save that for later. I was thinking about activating the prescient state, but I think we'll save that for later. So let's see. We have 2 characters here. They don't know we're here. We will. No, we won't do that. We'll just open up with the scattergun. Oh no! Okay, that was my mistake.
You
Shield
could
back
though,
on.
like if you crouch, you're actually making less noise.
This is one of the things that is not often evident because if you crouch your character, you do not generate audio movement events. What that means is that if you can predict which way NPCs will move, you can get much closer to them to do what I essentially did here, which is get the scattergun in a much, much closer position.
And this scattergun obviously is better at close range because it scatters a lot of
Shotgun!
pellets, a lot of darts.
We will push through. Let's have a look.
Yeah, because the scattergun is basically like your shotgun approach in other
Yeah.
games.
The other interesting element here is that, as Vilja said prior, we don't only. Ooh, I missed.
Oh, that was a
that's
nice-
interesting.
nice dodge
Let's
from the
not.
NPC.
Let's not. I'm shielded. He's not going to do anything. It's okay. We're fine. We're overpowered. One of the things that Vilja mentioned before is that because of the setting, because of the Holzman technology, and because of how we need to value, there has to be value to attacking something, but not really taking its hit points away, which is where staggers and the stagger mechanics really come in. For example, with the scattergun is one of the best tools you have to force a stagger at short range, not melee range, but at short range, to a target that you manage to land all of your darts on. So we're going to continue advancing, explore this space.
What's up, Sanjo?
debate.
JK, I know
Space.
Thandar was
Let's
having some
wait
issues
a minute.
earlier with
Let's-
YouTube as well. It
let's
was
get a bit of trouble. So, kind of a long
having
corridor.
loading
I will
issues.
see. I will zoom in with my magical Mark 1
I think he ended
eyeball
up switching over to
try
watch on
spot the
Twitch,
baddies.
but kept the YouTube chat
As we
open.
advance ever so slowly. No. There we go.
Notice he did the shoulder switch there.
Right. You pull back.
Just
Main
be
charge.
in there.
We
Yep.
proceed to compel. Tactically withdraw.
He didn't.
Heroically running away.
Oof. Okay. Okay. I need to. This is the other element. We
He
need
just tried to do a knee charge.
disposition them.
Oops,
Oh,
tried to
he
do a
didn't get
slow
back.
blade.
Oh, there's dodging. Please push
There's
through.
the slow blade.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy.
I need to.
Oh.
I have my abilities.
So we see it's very much about positioning and tactical
One,
combat.
2,
Yeah.
3. You staggered, push through, push through, push through. Nice.
And as you saw, the NPC was actually doing a knee charge against you because they have the same abilities as we do.
And he's on reload, and I follow through.
He was just
Successfully.
reloading. Yes, nice.
Successfully. We might actually get NPCs to maybe be a little bit more clever with when they reload versus shielded characters. That's a future team conversation. Let's handle
Maybe you
that.
can at least imbibe some spice beer so you're ready for it.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let's take before we go any further. Let's one. That'll push our bar upwards, and we have to wait a few ticks for it to get ready. We're not going to trigger it yet. We're going to wait for the go signal before we get spicy.
Also, you can do that via food or drinks, but also sometimes it kind of goes up organically.
I mean, if you go to a spice field, you will inhale spice
Yes.
directly.
And you can also see the particles in the air. You actually see it. That's very interesting. Super.
Inhale.
Get over here.
Follow through, and we keep eyes out for the other characters here.
Oh, finish him.
Oh no!
Oh, he's gonna come.
Oh, I didn't press keyboard fault, not my fault. I actually tried to dodge, or technically dash. Push through.
One thing I will say from
You saw
having
the
played a
shotgun
lot
dart
of
staggering the
controller
enemy and then following
in the
through
beta,
with a blade.
My objective there
switching
was
of
to
weapons on the
read
controller is
telegraph on the
not
recharge
nearly as
and move
fast as it
tactically to the
is
side.
here. Because
I have
here,
to,
if you look on the
like,
bottom
press
right,
button, but it's
you're
okay.
able to quickly switch
Success
weapons
is still
with
high.
button presses. So
Right,
he's
and
got his
here,
weapons set to number 2, 3,
because
4,
we're in
5.
Ecolab, it
So
is
he's very quickly
actually
able
not
to
the
switch between weapons.
most
On the
easiest place.
controller,
Should
you
we
have to pull
activate
up a
the power?
radial menu
Sure.
first.
Let's do it.
So it's not quite as fast when
we're
you're playing on the
entering pressing
controller.
state.
Um,
As Vinay said prior, we have increased output of damage. We have reduced cooldown
That's
from our
something that,
abilities,
you know,
and more importantly,
It's
we
probably,
have information. And
for those of you who
information
play
is
with a lot of
ammunition
control like
that
I
we can
do,
use
it's
to
an area of
Yeah, you
feedback
have to actually see the enemies
where
first, but once
I
you
do hope that they
you
address
are
like
highly
giving
more
us the
conscious of where
ability
they
to
are.
like quick
So,
select
I will actually try to
weapons
utilize the
with like a
playstyle of
flick
this
of a switch or
character
something as
build
opposed to
its
needing to
optimal.
open
I
a
will
radial
float
menu
the fight.
and go find it on the radial menu. It would be cool if we had like the ability to like thumb tab over or something.
Please hit. No, okay. No, like, not that way.
You did see the buff activate
Yeah,
though
yeah.
on the right side from
You
your
went to heal, I need to
passives
engage
while
this
you were
flame.
floating.
Dash sideways. 1, 2, 3, dash away. Defense. Parry. Follow through. Success.
And since you're spec'd, you're on the same tier as them basically, it's just one slow blade. If you go against higher tiered enemies, you will have to use more of those, so that's obviously more challenging.
Normally, the first time players experience a location that they are under-geared for, they need to be Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, okay, let's proceed to melee. Yeah, and you shall. Okay.
From what we saw there was that you were blocking, you weren't parrying, you were
Yeah.
holding block actually.
I didn't feel comfortable in the situation to try to risk it. How did he die? I guess he exploded.
Yeah, there is perfect
Forward,
block
let's
in this
see what we
game,
encounter.
or
Let's-
perfect
let's
parry, I
actually
should say,
reload
which
our
staggers the
reload.
enemy. So
Let's
timing
go.
on block and parry
Is
is
the next
important.
button? No, that's the same button. Reload this
But
button.
like he said,
Let's
it's a
go.
timing thing.
And
So
this
if you
last
miss
one
it,
is
they can
already
hit
ready
you
to
for
go.
You also
damage.
see now, of
And in
course,
some
that the
cases, it's
spice
better to
press
just
in
block
goes
going
slowly
and
down,
not take
yeah.
that
Yeah.
risk.
And as you saw there.
By the way,
Alex
for
was
those of you who are
preparing
tuning
before
in
the
for
next
Baldur's
encounter.
Gate
You
3,
really should
don't
prepare
worry, we'll be
before
getting
you
back
go
to it
into
later.
every
But we're
encounter.
spending an hour and a
Especially if
half,
you play
couple
solo,
hours this
right?
morning
You
watching
have
this
to be
live
very
stream,
more
and then we'll get
careful
back to
right now
Baldur's Gate
if you
3
play
later.
solo like this.
Usually it's okay. It's just a question
is my
of how many
breakfast break.
resources players are willing to sacrifice for their speed and or efficiency.
Yeah, that's where the
actually
shield
quite
comes
a-
into play, Hector, because you don't need to worry about it if you're
But
wearing
we also
shields.
see here what you mentioned earlier when we talked about solo group play. Like Alex is really trying to be able to pick his fights, right?
Yeah.
Like trying to separate enemies, trying to go for cover,
This is a heavy
use his ability to not have to fight everyone
Yeah.
at the
I
same
compelled
time.
the heavy there to force them into a long CC effect, while dispatching his friend. I'm going to come back now and solve the problem. Okay? Oh no.
And this is the first time we see a heavy in this.
There's different types of CC as well. I know right now he's using the control.
Explosive damage to get a little bit of chip on him. Not that much chip, but let's see what happens. He's going to go in. 1, 2, 3. Push through. Disengage. See if he decides to bubble. No. Another hit. Okay. No. And then
Because-
And yeah, this guy has a minigun, and they are very good at taking down your shield as well.
One of the
Oh,
that was very close.
he
Okay.
was just about to do a suspensor blast, which would incapacitate Alex.
One of the big things that players will experience is that even though, as we listed prior, even though an individual character is quite easy to handle, the second you mismanage space or mismanage resources, it becomes very, very tricky. I need to stop speaking and focus. It becomes very, very tricky to handle the output that everything is throwing, which is why I need to try to focus these guys down quickly. CC him, disengage, reposition.
I jokingly say running away bravely, but like it's really a tactic.
It's a smart tactic sometimes.
You
yeah.
should try to get away from it, regroup, and then go back in with a plan. Because going up against a lot of enemies solo is tricky.
Right, let's progress. Okay, this way. It looks interesting. Let's have a look.
And once you
That
get shields,
appears
it
to
does
be
dramatically
a way-
change
okay, let's
your
check this way.
survivability. Like before you get
Rotating,
shields in the game,
rotating.
it's you
Uh-huh.
gotta be
So
aware
yeah,
of all the
we'll
bad
compel him
guys.
away from
It's
this problem, and then we'll press the
it's
opposite direction.
the quality of life
We'll try to
progression
dispatch
so
his
far has been
friends
very
quickly.
pleasant.
It's not me, it's the hardware. Into melee, blocking. No, I failed. Okay, recharge. Recharge successful, push through.
Boom.
Abilities allow you.
But you can
To
only ever have
bypass-
3 abilities at any
Yes,
given
okay.
time. That's something that's very important to understand.
okay.
So you have to
Pull away.
think about it.
The reason I
Even
pulled
if
away
you have
is because
access
I
to
noticed
50,
my stamina,
you
which
have
is
to
why
pick
my abilities
3
were not
that you're gonna be
usable.
using.
I pulled away to regenerate my stamina, re-heal to be safe. I could probably have succeeded the fight. I just didn't want to choose to risk my resources because everything in Dune costs time, costs investment. Why risk when you can make things a little bit more successful?
Right, and you might even have lost your shield because of the minigun.
Push through.
And I'll mention for the beta players that we're doing a big rework or iteration on stamina. So a lot more things will cost stamina. Stamina won't always regenerate depending on actions that you do. You won't regenerate stamina as you sprint, for instance. We have a few more fixes coming in for this as well, but it will be a much more valuable and an important aspect of combat.
This version is not on the beta, right?
No, this is
No,
not on the
this
beta.
one-
Right,
It's
so
not
this
on
is
the
the
beta.
first time beta players could be potentially seeing the changes that are upcoming.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lovely lore tidbit. Let's press the button. People can enjoy the text on screen while we proceed to succeed.
That's actually the boss that is talking.
It's the leader of this area, Inhaler.
I don't see any contacts. We'll push forward and further and okay. This looks like a space with something. Here we go. Right. So my prescience state has depleted,
Oh yeah.
which is why I don't see the character's
many?
lovely highlights to tell me what they're about to do. So I need to choose when to go in with much less information.
And we can see here what's happening now is that he's in withdrawals. We can't actually consume spice. He needs to wait for that bar to go down, then he can consume spice. However, he will have to consume more spice now than he did in the first round because his tolerance is growing. And this can go up to quite a high level where he'll have to consume a lot of spice in order to go pressure.
Shall we consume spice?
I am indeed booked
Oh, wait,
and
wait. Ooh. I will know. I
Yeah.
will focus on the gameplay. Right, dispatched. Okay, let's see what this character is doing. Okay, he thinks I'm there. Let's compel. One. Break away. Scattergun.
I'm actually doing a lot of
Mhm.
offline play for the first time ever right now,
Uh-huh,
which
not
is
there
actually this
anymore.
game because I'm in that limited
And I can't
beta
hit him.
preview
Right.
event that started
again.
about I think on the 11th is when it started.
So we're
So
acting
we're
up.
like a
Let's
weekend,
see what
something like
happens. We're
that.
gonna
What is the
finish
date
and get
today?
our success opportunity.
Oh.
Oh, no, don't.
Back.
16th. So we're like five days
Leaving.
in. So I actually have a
Nice.
session planned today
And
at
let
4
us
o'clock in the
rearm and
afternoon,
re-equip. We'll
which
press
I'm
this
playing
button to
offline.
rearm
We're
this
actually going
gun.
to go
We'll press this button,
I'm
that's already
duoing
reloaded.
today,
Getting
so I'm going to be
reloaded,
playing with
disrupt
another
ready,
player,
disrupt and roll.
and we're going to be going in and
Right,
doing
I
one
kind
of
know this
the
layout. We're going to go down the stairs.
PvE sort of dungeon
And further and
environments,
further. See what
which
we
is what you're
get.
seeing right here. One of
Let's
these types
use
of
that
areas.
And use more.
For
And
some quests, and then
spice
those get
is the
recorded,
fuel
uploaded.
of
I've already
the
got 12
empire.
videos
It is
uploaded
a
and ready to
lovely
go.
resource. It is
So today
expensive,
we'll be
but we are
recording
Arrakis,
episodes
therefore,
13 and
unlike
14
most characters
in the
the
series
universe,
that I'm
we have
doing.
easy access
I'll
to it.
probably end up with
And to
about
be fair,
30
we're cheating right now a
videos,
little bit when it comes to spawning items.
maybe
we're
40,
spawning the beer.
at least 30 to 40 videos that I'll
It's
have ready to
fine.
go by the end of the month.
Mostly.
And then as soon as the embargo goes down for the
It's
limited
absurd.
No, but
beta
you will
event,
be
I'll be able to start publishing
create, to
those.
craft spice beer, spice coffee yourself, and you'll also sometimes find it in loot.
Grenade, okay, that's a
Then
grenade
again,
this
if you're
way.
like getting
is what-
close to spice field, it would also.
Happens
yeah.
if I don't dispatch them quickly. See, I can shoot. I can float and shoot as well. No, I have to
Oh.
reload. That's a mistake, Alex. There we go. My shield almost popped. This is from 2 attackers.
It's not confirmed.
Okay, less speaking, more focus. Sorry.
The Oblivion
This is
remaster is not confirmed. Bethesda has not made a press
approach.
statement. It is
Who
not
gets that?
confirmed.
Nice. Disruptor, reloaded. Right.
When Bethesda makes the press announcement and Bethesda says that it's out, then we'll confirm it.
Yes,
But
and
it's not
forward,
confirmed until
and
Bethesda says
further.
so.
Are we alone? We are alone. We continue. I believe we are 2 rooms away.
Still
from our
nothing more
final
than leaks and
destination.
rumors.
Let's see how well we overcome this. We have 1 shooter, 1 fighter, and oh, that's another one. Okay, I will try to quickly compel away. What's that problem? Focus on this problem. Explosive floating bomb. Go down. He decided to.
Oh, he
Ooh,
tried to
that's
knee
a
dash.
Oh, he parried. I'm sorry. I will counter your parry with my knee. Successful. Oh, that's his friend. Parry.
Nice.
Counter. Rotation. Fantastic. Do I have to
So
shoot? And I
pay
just went
attention to
out
his
at
left
the end.
hand.
And it very much
That's
pushed
why
me.
I don't play
This
mouse and
character is
keyboard
actually
anymore,
also, like
because
Vino
you
said
have to
beforehand,
do,
a
like,
little
I
bit
did
pushed
that
to
for
the-
25
to the
years,
further end of progression,
and my
so
hand is
I have
like,
some
nope.
things that are helping me. I'm unhydrated. Where's there water?
That's why I
Exactly.
play a controller these days.
Can I find some water here? maybe?
That, to the right there. No,
There's
I thought. No, I thought it was.
Let me do a quick rotation around this room to see if there's a water container somewhere in here that I can exploit. Else, I'll
Oh,
to
I
go
have no
another
idea how
one.
many abilities
Well,
there
we
are.
won't have
There's a
to, we'll just-
bunch
Yeah, let's-
throughout all the
no, sorry.
archetypes.
One more. Let's just check this.
They
room
showed
here.
it on screen, I don't know,
Maybe.
15, 20 minutes ago before they went into the dungeon, because he was showing off
we
all the
go.
archetypes.
Some drinks,
Because this is a
get more
beta,
stamina.
this is a
Is there a second?
promotional character, so he
No?
has access
No?
to
Okay, one
all
is
of
enough.
the abilities across the archetypes.
Even without the bonus, it's good not to go too far close to the red. All right, let's continue our experience.
This gives me anxiety to just walk past loot boxes. That is like so.
Sorry,
Gotta
developers.
open all the boxes.
Developers. Yeah, yeah. Let's continue through. Okay, let's check this corridor. Nice. Okay. Right, and I believe we ought to be somewhere near one of the
Yes.
primary events.
So this is where we come to. The
He's
blood
doing a
zone.
lot of shoulder
You
swapping
can
as
pass
well.
through,
I don't actually
but you
do that
cannot
very often,
exit
but you
until
can.
you've taken care of all the enemies inside.
The terminology of a blood door is started off as an internal keyword for us. These are technically Holtzman shields that have been specifically configured for very, very specific purposes to make a gameplay experience better for the player. We shall proceed through. Now,
And if you look back at the door, you can see that you can't
It's
actually
red
exit
now.
now.
Yep. He's
however,
locked in.
your friends can follow through.
Yeah.
And sometimes not friends also follow.
This is true.
And this is where some of the deep desert ecology become very, very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so in this location we have a big gameplay space, 3 paths, left, middle, and right, and there is also an underside. I happen to know this because I've reviewed this Ecolab a couple of times, and I will pretend like I don't, but I do. We will engage with this piece of content doing a clockwise rotation, going left and around. Let's see how well we do. We will try not to aggro too much because, as we saw previously, if I make a mistake, I am punished. We will try to minimize mistakes, and again, crouching to not risk being heard until we absolutely have to. That's a heavy. This is a bad location. I should not have gone this way. I need to use this box to keep cover from the heavy. Let's see how long my shield can hold before I
Oh, he melted
Okay,
your
okay,
shields.
please shield, shield, shield. What is he doing? Shield, shield, compel. Run through. We will not fight him because we don't have the resources to. We will engage. No, I missed. Oh, yeah. No, stop, no, stop. Please stop. Okay, stab, stab, stab. Finish, crouch.
Get out, get out.
Get below line of fire. That
Get
guy
low,
doesn't see
get
us yet.
low,
Okay, we have
get low.
resources. We're going to go in.
Oh, you missed.
This was a marksman that I happen to know is here. He's quite dangerous if he is not dispatched quickly. They proceed to stack up a lot of poison damage on our players. We will not fight the heavy because that is a dangerous proposition. Instead, continue to rotate around the location to dispatch his friend. Actually, let me see. Maybe it's not so bad. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get rid of this guy before we get into too much trouble. Compel, advance. No, Alex. Stab the body. Stab. No, get away. Good shot.
Oh, that was
No, I don't have
cool.
any stamina. No.
That's exactly when it comes down to resource management.
I'm too eager right now.
Power
yes.
tools.
Did that push through? No, it didn't. Try again. Dash in. And miss. Great. Follow. Stagger, push through. There we go.
Even a combat designer can play perfectly every single time. That's
It's the
totally fine.
hardware.
Yes,
Don't blame
it's
me.
the hardware and the
okay.
game engineer.
I am actually disappointed that my pressing state is depleted yet again. It is not very efficient to not know how many hit points the opposition has.
Well-
However, we will make do.
Normally people won't explain so much as they have the pressure state basically because you
Yep.
lost quite a bit of it
Yes.
there. It does last for quite some time. Oh,
Pull back a little bit. See what happens. It's a heavy and a.
and aside from combat like this now, he's in withdrawal, and you start seeing these pink
effects on the
elements
screen.
showing up every now and then.
He's got
so
spice withdrawal.
After a while, you might start seeing things that aren't there if you trigger pressions too often.
Why is that spice can influence your character in all different kinds of ways?
Yep.
Yep.
Drugs are bad,
Almost
kids.
Almost have a shield. Come on, push through. No, not enough. Next weapon. Oh, successful. Okay, great. And then let's look.
Now, one thing he's
around.
not doing, which
See,
she
let's
did
actually
mention, he's
reload
not
before
looting
we
any of the
push
loot
further.
boxes. He's also not
Disruptor,
checking bodies
rifle,
for loot.
step gun,
You can
fantastic,
also
rifle
draw
equipment.
blood
See
from
what you
bodies if you're low on water,
see. I
and you can
believe
use the blood
We have cleared the left and right,
to,
and now we need to have a look in the middle.
put into a water
Yep. Yes, we do.
recycler, so it
How we clear
filters
it?
the blood for
Let's
water.
have
In a
a
pinch, if
floating
you're running
detonator.
low on water, you can
Three,
drink blood,
two,
but it
one,
has some
click.
negative side
Some
effects.
damage.
So this
They've kind of
assault
showed a lot of that
shooter
stuff in
actually
other
has
videos. This
double
one is
functionality
almost
where you can
exclusively
throw it and
focused
it
on the
will explode in
combat,
contact,
but-
or you can trigger it as it moves towards the target.
Worth pointing
Or
out
past the target.
for people who might be new and haven't seen previous content.
Push through the shield. Nice. Reload equipment. Reloaded. Oh, hello. No. Wait. I'm not ready. Wait. Get your turn. Floating bomb. Yeah. Oh, I missed time. That was too far. Go
There's
reload.
also headshot damage.
Yes,
You
there we
can
go.
spec for
Go.
bonuses, for
some health.
different weapon types.
You
You
see
can
that the
spec
door is still
for
locked over there, so
different
there's
types of
some
enemies.
bonuses
Some
with,
enemies.
Yeah, that's the
like
way
for
we need to go.
headshots,
So we
body
need to find the
shots.
remainder of the encounters.
Yeah,
Hey, and from this vantage point,
some floating maybe.
we will absolutely succeed float.
That's where your build comes into play.
Okay. No. Bad. No, that's also bad. Please
Yeah,
don't.
shields are
Please
down,
don't.
health is down.
I have to compile them. I don't have any. Oh, get away.
That's my experience with this.
Disruptor?
That's my experience with this ecolab as well. It can get out of hand really
Yeah.
quickly if you're not very careful. If you solo this
Where
one.
is it coming? It's coming no. Okay, heal. Where's the heavy? If it's around the corner, I'll rotate right. 1 health pack, 2 health pack. Stay low. Stay low, stay safe. I have stamina, I have resources. Go. Okay, let's go. Daggers to hand. He was right here. There he is. Quantum bomb. Bam.
I'm just choosing to ignore you.
One.
Oh, you got
Okay, knee to the face. Dagger through. And run away. Give me my cooldowns back. And stamina. Stamina's 1. Compel. dagger. This is all about risk minimizing. I could have been much more aggressive. I could have risked my durability of my equipment. I chose not to. I believe we have mostly cleared the space. Let's have a reload and a look-see. Here we go. Right, let's get back upstairs. To there, to there.
Yeah,
we
you see
go.
the door is green there. So
Yeah,
we're
what-
not going to go through the next room. That's where Ina Hiller, the leader of this Ecolab or this testing station, is. We're gonna end the solo play at this point.
Yep, I love
Not,
What's up,
Not
Deeks?
spoil the boss here.
No,
Yes.
that's
Even though we
okay.
heard her talk actually earlier, so it's like we're not gonna kill her this time around.
So now they're going to show
So
some
that gives us
group
the
stuff.
opportunity to now from solo gameplay go into group gameplay. We're gonna set up some things behind the scenes. We're gonna watch a quick video first, and then we'll be right back with more gameplay for you to watch.
God, the sounds, man. Way to make me feel old. Music from the classic Dune games. Oh my god.
And we are back again. As we mentioned, we're going to set up a few more things behind the scenes. The crew will tell me when we're ready to actually go. We all ready? Well,
No,
that
there
was
have been
fast,
many
super
different
efficient,
types
because we
of
were
Dune
actually-
games over the
We're going to
years.
talk a little bit more about the differences between the Ecolab that we just went through solo and the Ecolab that we're actually going through now in group play. We can still do that. Actually, we can explain that a little bit as well, because the approach is going to be quite different. Plus, also we see more group viability, or like group gameplay, group like, what's the term I'm looking for?
Coordination,
coordination,
a little
thank
bit
you.
of planning,
Exactly.
well, a little bit more of them planning, because these locations are in the deep desert, so you have
Yeah.
to have a fair bit of planning and protection, because not everyone here is a friend.
Yeah, the deep desert ecolabs, they are in PvP areas, so you run the risk of PvP here, obviously.
Also, we see also the players here, they wear higher tier armor, they have better weapons, they have more abilities as well. Plus, but you're probably going to comment on that later on as well, the approach and the mechanics in this type of ecolabs is kind of different than we just saw in the solo
Yes,
gameplay.
the enemies are much more aggressive. They're much higher tiered enemies. The weaponry and the gadgets and abilities they use against you are more advanced. Also here, the blood doors have an additional function where waves will spawn. So not only do you have to clear the room once, you have to clear it. You have to clear
So
all
this
the
is
waves,
Swordmaster.
the waves, before you can actually continue to the loot. And loot also works a little bit differently in the deep desert compared to PvE areas. PvP loot and PvE loot works differently. So in PvE, everybody gets the loot. You can't cheat anyone, because anyone going up to the loot box, exactly, they will get the loot. However, here you have to trust that the first person to get the loot actually will share it with the group, which may or may not be the case.
So better make sure you have good friends. Like, let's call it, let's say it that way, right? So yes.
So yeah, we just used we just cut down the door, as you saw. This is the same technology as is used to harvest rocks and materials out in the world.
The players are going to advance through the first of the blood doors, exploring the space around them, and
That's,
we will
I
experience.
think Camille playing, so he is actually looting boxes. Thank you. Better for my anxiety.
Let's see what our players encounter. Exploring the space. I love these. These are so different just to seeing desert all of the time. It's lovely.
I do recommend having a shot caller on the team, someone who coordinates, because if everybody just do their own thing, these enemies are not only higher tiered, they have more health, they're much more aggressive.
Also, can we talk about friendly fire?
Absolutely.
So So you won't do damage to your friends with normal darts, things like that. However, area effects, abilities, and the flamethrower will actually damage your friends. They won't take full damage, but you should be careful.
So everything that kind of does area of effect damage, right, will also kind of damage, do
Yeah,
damage to your friends.
So things like poison, explosives, flame, when delivered in an AoE, which is also flamethrower, and in a deployable, like you showed me using the assault seeker beforehand. And CC effects like suspensor grenade or reduction grenades are also applied in full. So you really need to manage where you deploy your AoE CCs to not hamper your allies.
That's good to know about friendly fire stuff. But
believe
they,
our
if I'm not
players
mistaken,
just defeated one of
they
the
are in
raids
a
and then they're now
PvP
preparing
area right now.
to
So
receive the next. They will rearm and re-equip.
There
and
could be other
ready to
people
rock and
coming in.
roll. And we'll do maybe some of the shot calling for them instead.
because he did say that this is in the deep desert, I think is what he said.
Gameplay.
And that's a PvP
They also
area.
have different builds, different abilities equipped, different weapons, which is interesting. These ones switch between those different.
I love the camera work that we're doing right here. Like we saw one player focusing an NPC and then we immediately switched to his friend to focus on the same NPC. This is exactly the kind of coordination players will need to exhibit in these locations. While it may not be obvious until you're actually playing these places, these NPCs are significantly stronger, they're faster, they are much more dangerous. However, some people might want to challenge themselves and come here by alone. Who knows? It's up to them.
They also retreat, they use cover, they use the same abilities that players have at their disposal as well, depending on how
They'll
what kind of enemies
dash
they
and
are.
they'll parry much more often as well. I do want to mention one thing again to the beta players, that we have listened to feedback when it comes to how friendly fire works. Friendly fire will still be valid for groups, but
That's the
we are
turret.
reworking
I
how
use that
they
turret a
affect
lot.
guilds, basically.
It's one of the mentat
Prior to the
abilities.
change, both guild mates and group mates were considered allies for the purposes of not taking damage.
Okay, so guildmates, yeah, don't take damage. Okay,
This is
that's
one of my favorite. Like,
more
I can tell
information.
that's a Swordmaster build, because you saw the green effect, which is basically a passive of the Swordmaster archetype. If you kill someone, it will give you a buff for, I think the first level is 15% more damage for the next attack as well, right after you kill
You see
someone.
the Bene Gesserit, they stand apart because their effects are black or dark.
It's very distinct, so players can understand what's happening around them.
Oh, they got a wave coming in.
This is very good.
These, especially these
It's
things,
almost-
are very dangerous.
That
It's
poison ability is
almost
also a
as if they're
mentat
not
thing.
Right.
I use it. The poison and the turret are.
Bit of resource management, a bit of coordination, a little bit of healing.
What we saw there
So
was quick
waiting for the
looting.
next wave.
They looted them quickly. They didn't have to go into an inventory. You can go into an inventory and just pick the pieces you want, but that was quick looting where you just hit spacebar and you get them one by one.
I think that person's actually kind of poisoned right now. If I
Yeah,
like that, you
exactly.
can see
Yeah.
So in the
Effect.
paradigm that we have, applying a healing kit will remove poison effects from the players. One of the nice things about poison grenades is that especially both in PvE and PvP, they have a use case. Not only will they force NPCs to move, because NPCs don't like to be in bad clouds of green stuff, it also forces players in PvP to actually make a choice between, do I want to stay here and suffer this
You can
small
see
but
how
potentially
much more
significant
reactive
effect,
the
or do I want to
NPCs are
reposition and
acting
heal?
in this
There are many
dungeon.
ways to use these, and
Because it's a
players
group
are
dungeon,
very close
they're
by
using a
now.
lot
That
more
was really
abilities,
nice,
they're
like
ducking,
almost out of
dodging,
stamina,
they're
like-
coming around
That was
and
really nicely
flanking.
played, though.
The
I
don't think you
AI
mentioned,
is
but
on
enemies will-
point.
Yeah, you saw one.
This is a group
enemies will
dungeon,
actually-
so it's
They will
much more
sometimes they run
challenging than a
away and
solo
you wonder
dungeon.
what they're doing. They're doing the same thing the player is doing. They're actually
Yeah.
running away to heal so
To
that
heal.
they can come back.
And they can, of course, also revive themselves. They can get out of the down but not out state
Exactly,
as well,
yeah.
like players can.
I love the floating light machine gun, the character build just now that we saw a second
Oh
ago.
yeah.
That's a throwback to the one
The
that remember what
turrets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, I was
see what
about
we
to
do
mention it
next.
earlier because we've seen it a few times now and we haven't actually commented on it,
Yeah.
which is...
Here we see it, the turret.
Yes, which is a mentat ability,
It's a
if I'm
mentat,
not
yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah.
It's like actually one of the first mentats.
Poison Cloud and the turret are both mentats.
And now we're in Prescient state again. So see all the
And you got a
action.
lot of ads. Holy
Now
crap.
what we do, a little bit of panic, a little bit of crossfire. The question is, will our team survive and succeed and receive
Nice.
the rewards?
Depends on the hardware, from what I understand.
nice one. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, brownie points. That was really nice.
Very good. Very good. I enjoy it.
Unscripted joke.
Oh,
Awesome. Note that we
There
have
is no
any
news,
scripted
Mantis
here, really,
Toboggan.
but, that was really nice.
here we go.
If
One,
Bethesda has
two,
not made a press
three.
statement, then it's not news. It's a rumored myth, and it's not real.
He's still focusing
Nice.
on. Okay.
We only focus on actual
flamethrower ahead.
news on this
we've
channel.
seen-
We don't participate in
Also, we've
rumors.
seen a knife earlier,
don't
like,
grift.
and now we actually see a sword in action.
One of the big differences that
We wait for official news
the
from the
gameplay
companies
stylization.
behind the
Swords are an
products.
area of control weapon. They're a little bit slower than daggers, but daggers allow you to quickly attack and also lunge. One of the things that we really want to focus on for our melee playstyles, which is not super evident right now, but soon TM will be, is that they are all distinct, have a gameplay role that players can choose to enjoy. And those
Wow,
gameplay
they've got
roles will be
another
unique
wave
and
of enemies
engaging,
coming
and
in.
They will have distinct counters and strengths and weaknesses.
I mean, I gotta say it again. I love melee. I'm like, it's my build. Like, I combine Swordmaster plus Bandit chest read skills, and I absolutely love it. Plus, I have a sniper rifle. Because I either want to be super far away and kill people really fast, or be in their face. Like, that's kind of my playstyle.
Oh,
I
he
love
got
it.
stunned.
And it
They were just saw a
works.
suspensive blast from the enemy there, which staggered our friend here.
Ooh, that's a lot of pressure from two NPCs. no.
Oh, he's getting nailed.
So here
Tag
we see some special
teams.
NPCs. These NPCs are configured to be different from the normal experience, wherein the actions and abilities that they perform
Oh,
are much,
he's
much
gonna
more,
die.
They're really wailing
less
on.
cool. That's like,
Oh,
that's
yeah, he
like-
just
right
went
now.
down.
That's a
Oh
friend
my
down.
god.
You guys have to work harder to survive. Let's go. No cheating.
Should have used that prescience.
Where was I? Right. Some of these NPCs are configured quite differently to the normal experience outside of the deep desert. They have abilities that players do. They are on a lower cooldown, and they are much, much more eager to use them against players.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Very.
Let's call it aggressive. Yeah, they're very aggressive.
Aggressive
Yes.
ability use. Oh, they defeated the wave.
They
That's
did
fantastic.
actually. Yeah, they did defeat
And
them.
then we are waiting. Oh, and they're prepping as well with turrets and everything. Right.
Also getting
Let's
their
see
friend.
where the next wave comes in from. Oh, bubbles. Bubbles everywhere. So a bit of focus.
Be nice there. You can see all the abilities that specific NPC has.
Access granted.
They need to defeat all of the NPCs before the next wave triggers. Oh, actually, was that the last wave?
I was just wondering that. I was just about to ask.
I
like,
believe our friends
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
successfully succeeded.
because it's actually because the door is green there.
Yeah.
So just an awesome.
Good job.
Good job, team. It was
And
wonderful.
we can see here on the left, in the
Yeah.
lower left corner, that they're all grouped up. You see the names of them and everything. So
Right, yes.
good going group, good going team.
Absolutely. One of the-
Someone took one for the team, which is totally okay. Someone you have to have a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And now, that awkward moment where trust is tested in terms of who chooses who gets the loot.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Well, you have
Exactly.
a leader. You have a leader who hopefully like.
I much prefer
distributes it
games
fairly.
that do it where everyone gets an item. I'm not a
But yeah,
big
you
fan
nice
of
to see
that
the
system that
group
they're
set-
using, which is the old school
Actually,
system
the
of
group
there's
setups
only
has changed.
loot
Okay.
in the
Oh, it's
box for a
awful.
certain amount of, so you have to choose who gets what. Because if you're grouping with randos, someone's gonna ninja loot every time, and someone's gonna be like, I
The
need
group
that
setup
item
is
because I can
changing
sell it
there
on the
behind scenes.
market,
Okay,
and I
yeah.
need it more than you need it, even though you can
Nice.
equip it. Meh,
It's
I
one of those
don't fuck
moments.
that. I don't like that.
When
Not a fan.
friends decide not to be nice to each other.
Never
Our
say it
friends
again,
won't be
make
friends.
sure
That's
you
why I
know
like
your
World of
friends,
Warcraft
not
these
close
days,
friends.
because
Is it
everybody
like
gets a piece
keep
of
your
loot.
friends close. No, keep your enemy close. No, keep your friends close. Your enemy closer. Keep your friends
No.
close. Your enemy closer.
Oh, from the second perspective. Oof.
It's just this is a single.
So, a
That's
2-on-2
a
fight,
shield
a
ability.
2-on-2 player fight in a
That you could lay
confined
down.
space is going to get messy.
Um,
There's going to be colors on the screen. There's going to be effects.
And it
going off.
actually will it has a
We
secondary
will
effect if I'm
see
not
if we can
mistaken, where
call it
like
as
it
best we can
slows
to what's
enemies
happening.
that come through it.
See,
feel like
there's,
the
there's,
sports
there's someone
commentator,
dead there already.
like-
Oh, they took somebody down. That was very fast.
Is it two
No.
versus one
Oh,
now?
stamina
Or
left.
is it? Yeah, 2 versus 1. Yeah. Oh, nice.
Mm.
This is very nice.
Oh, someone went prescient.
Cheating! They're cheating.
No.
I would call it cheating. If
So this
someone
is-
goes first and I can't,
This is
it's
player
obviously
versus player
cheating.
at this point.
Someone
I
has like.
believe somebody got the trade.
Looks like it.
Oh, and there's another. Oh, there's a second
Ooh,
betrayal.
That was a Bene Gesserit skill on
yeah.
a friend.
That's
That's
funny.
like
Yeah,
that's
so
like
this
the
is like,
ultimate
hey,
betrayal.
we
If you
found
use
the
a Bene
loot. I want
Gesserit
all the
skill
loot.
on
I'm
your
gonna betray the
friend.
group that I came in here with. I'm gonna
That is
kill
just
everybody and
the
then
ultimate
take the
betrayal.
loot.
The question is, who is the better player?
This is an interesting fight.
This is very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
Oh!
Oh, it's
Someone
getting
out of
staggered.
stamina.
No, yeah.
I know, Mister. This is an awesome. This is the Dune.
only
This is
one.
the Dune mod for
Oh,
Baldur's Gate
So
3.
the new whirlwind.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was though.
Sword is there. Oh, I believe. Oh, the count is back. Needs to be a little bit more ability use and a little bit better stamina management. Bank your stamina and deploy it in one big burst.
Actually, you don't see
Oh!
stamina on the other player, even if you're prescient, which is actually really. I think that's. Oh,
Oh, so it. Boom.
that's close. It almost got one of the players is sitting
Some
right
ten- some
here,
tension in the
and he
room
just
here.
went like throwing his head back, and his headphone just went flying. It's just like, well done, though, team. Well done. That
That
was
can only
great.
be one.
There can only be one. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There can only be one. But yeah, make sure you have close friends before if you go into.
Never
these
fear,
types of
guys. We'll be
collabs.
getting
These
back
kind
to
of
Baldur's Gate 3 here in a
situations
bit
is
when this
actually
stream
one of the
wraps up.
paradigms that
We're
we've
about
de-
30
designed
minutes
the
out,
game
looks like.
around, which is making friends and enemies. We don't really care which is which, but if you're making friends, if you're making enemies, the game will sustain itself, I
Remember
think.
to belong the way.
Exactly, exactly.
I would care who are my friends. I was like, you don't care who is which, but it's yeah. But also, I like to backstab people. So there you go. Like in terms of friends and enemies and
That's
enemies.
great.
And, yeah, so.
I very much enjoyed that. I didn't expect a double backstab at all.
The double backstab.
Well,
Okay,
plans
no
within
pun
plans within
intended.
plans. You know, that's how it goes.
No pun intended. Who was the instigator? I blame Camille, by the way, behind the scenes there.
I think I
So-
saw him play some mine or something.
He's
talk about
denying.
that.
He's denying it. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I'm 100% sure. I know it wasn't anyone else. My mind was Camille. Anyway, that was the combat section. Thank you so much, Viljar and Alex, for being here chatting and showing off some of the gameplay. We have, of course, as we mentioned.
By the way, all the
earlier
gameplay they've showed today is
uh,
deep into the game.
better
Like
weekend
they
coming
had
up
a
that
full suite
a
of
lot of
abilities,
players will
a
be
full
able
suite
to
of
enjoy and
weapons.
test
That
the
is
Dune
quality of life
Awakening
progression because I can promise you,
themselves.
you do not have
You'll be able
access to all
see,
that
you'll be
shit in
able
the
to
early stages of the
show
game. You don't
videos
have
and things
shields.
from that better
You
weekend.
start off with a
Sometime
knife.
Next month, more concrete information regarding
You have
that
to
will,
build
of
your way
course,
up to what they were
come
showing.
soon from our side. But before we dive into the next segment, we are just gonna have a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back.
There's a definite progression to the game.
Welcome to Arrakis, the most dangerous planet in the universe.
Yep, we are looking at
Dune
the
Awakening
Dune
is a
Awakening
multiplayer survival game
preview
on
live
a
stream from
massive
yesterday,
scale,
where they
where
showed
the
off
open, ever-changing
combat.
world ensures exploration remains
The game
a
is due
vital
out June
activity.
10th, with Head
Join
Start
us
access
as
on
we
June
traverse
5th.
the breathtaking landscapes and uncover what the sand
I've got about
has hidden.
30 videos coming out at
Follow
the
in
end
the
of the
footsteps
month
of the
when the
native
embargo
strength
goes down for the limited
and learn
beta
to
preview
overcome
event that
the
I'm currently
deadly
partaking in.
environment.
And I've already
Collect
covered quite a
materials
few
to craft a shelter, still suit, and your
closed
first
beta
vehicle.
videos already, so you can
Then
take a look
venture
at my
into the
Dune
desert.
Awakening playlist over on
With a
YouTube.
scanning module installed, you can scan for resources in smaller areas, or climb the highest peaks to launch a survey probe, revealing large swaths of terrain and important locations like shipwrecks or abandoned Imperial testing stations. Traverse difficult terrain with tools like the sugar wire
I'm already
claw
playing the game,
and
Scalera.
dispenser belt, and claim powerful tech.
But yeah,
and
I've
gear.
been planning to play this game since it was
Expand
announced
your
like 3
fleet of
years ago.
vehicles and
I love
upgrade them
Dune.
with new modules
It's up
to
there
suit
for
your
me with like
playstyle.
Star Wars, Star Trek, Blade Runner, Middle
From the
Earth,
cockpit of the iconic
Forgotten
Ornithopter,
Realms, Dragonlance.
even the most
I love the
remote
Dune universe,
expanses
so
of
yeah,
Arrakis
absolutely.
are within your reach.
I also played Dune Spice
In the
Wars
deep
last year,
desert,
which is another fun
massive
comp game, but
Coriolis
that's a
storms
4X
regularly
RTS
sweep
game.
across the land with monstrous power, changing the entire map every week. As new resources and secrets are revealed, The race to survey.
But yeah,
the
I've been in the
vast
closed
new
beta for this since
landscape
last year.
begins anew.
I'm in a limited
Be the first to mark the
preview event right
location of
now with some
precious
other content creators
resources.
and press. We're currently being
And give
allowed
them app
to
your
record our
allies,
own
or
footage
sell
for
it
the
to
very
other
first
players
time.
on the exchange.
That footage will be coming
Here,
out at the
there
end
are
of the
no
month.
paths
I've
to
already
tread,
got
only power
a
to
dozen
claim.
videos uploaded. I've got
This
another
is
session I'm
infinite
playing this afternoon
exploration.
where I'm
This
recording
is
episodes
Arrakis.
13 and 14. I should have around 30 videos ready to go by the end of the month.
All right, and we are back. We know that, of course, we're following comments and things that we see on the internet, on our social channels, and we know that some of you have been concerned regarding Head Start and how our servers actually work. What the hell was that? Stop it. This guy. It's the worst. No, anyway. So we, of course, have heard your concerns. Thank you. So we know which troublemakers are actually sitting on the side here. I'll introduce
Joel's
him
in here
soon
being
enough,
naughty.
don't worry. But anyway, we're going to talk about server structure and also social play, like, because some of you were concerned if someone starts Head Start and you start later, can you still play with your friends? How is that going to work for groups and guilds and all those things? And we're actually going to talk about this. And here to talk about that is this troublemaker, Joel.
My name is Chris. No.
Game Oh my God. Save me, please. No. The game director, you know him, you love him, maybe you hate him, I don't know. No, we'll love him.
I'm sure it'll be
Despite
both.
everything.
Equal elements of both, like yin and yang.
But you want to introduce yourself quickly anyway, just to chat
Sure, my
for
name is Chris Knife. I'm the creative director on Dune Awakening. And I'm joined here by luscious Leo.
Yeah,
And Leo, you are?
I'm Leo. And I'm
Late
lead
back
game
Leo.
designer on Dune Awakening. And yeah, as that, I manage the design team here in Oslo, and I also work with building systems and the social systems.
Indeed.
Right.
And this is going to be one of those sections you all love where we talk and we don't show gameplay for a few seconds.
So we have
He's
assets,
totally
videos,
trolling
little
everybody. He's
videos,
totally
videos,
trolling the
and
trolls.
There's
visual
a
assets,
very,
so-
very cool infographic that someone made.
which we'll having on the screen any second now, because we talk about server structure.
That was the wrong
That is
one.
not the one. That is
No,
the right
that's
one.
the right
Perfect.
one. Well
there we
done.
go. Again,
Champion.
it's a live stream. Well, with a live stream, without some hiccups.
All right.
Anyway, please, Joel, talk to us about server structure, servers, worlds, all the good stuff.
All right, cool. I will talk to you about this, Natasha. So Dune Awakening has a very unique, somewhat different server structure to the type of games you'd expect. If you're a survival player, you're probably used to one map, one server. But Dune Awakening has kind of a larger server structure on the back end. So we have what we call worlds. Worlds are made up of multiple servers, which we call internally sietches. So often when you join a sietch, you'll see here in this infographic that Hager Basin has this big stack of sietches. So when you sign up, you'll choose your world and then you'll join a sietch within that world. Each of those Hager Basin sietches contains maximum 40 players per map, but all of those maps add up to create the entire world. The Deep Desert, the social hubs like Harko Village and Arakeen, they are actually shared social spaces in the world. The Deep Desert being the big PvP area in the world.
Yeah. So
of
the way
course,
this
like, so
works,
we're
Mistra,
talking about,
is
like, we have
Haga
this 5-day
Basin
head start. I know people are concerned.
and the
The
social
thing is,
hubs, that's all
you'll be able to join
PvE
worlds that we
content. So
open
there's
during that head
and there's
start.
more
We'll also
zones than just Haga
open more
Basin.
worlds
He's
when the
just
game
that's
launches.
the starter area.
But you could also join a sietch in a world that isn't
So,
necessarily the same
that's
sietch
all
as your friend,
PvE
but
stuff.
You'll be able to go and visit
The
your
Deep
friend.
Desert
you'll be able to do a lot
is-
of stuff with your friends. So
it's open
It's kind of you're not going to be
PvP
locked out for the
in-game
most part
stuff.
of any content.
You could do
when you
100%
join
of the storyline
after
solo,
the head start.
PvE,
Also, I would
never
say
group
get
with
better
another
friends
player
and
if
let
you don't
them
want
buy you
to.
the head start.
There are
that's another thing
PvE
I think
another
is
dungeons
really good
and
options.
That's the way
PvP
to go.
dungeons,
No, you
but
also
all the
said
PvP
40
is 100%
players
consensual.
Per max per
You
server
never
or
have to. I
siege.
don't PvP. I'm a
what
Care
happens
Bear.
if someone
So
joins
I am.
anyway? If there's like
I'm mostly here for the crafting
If the- if
survival
more
base
than 40
building
people try to
component of
join
this game,
at one time, so it's
and the
concurrent
fact that
users,
it's
so
new.
CCU.
Like I could give two
And that
shits
means
about
that,
the
then they'll be
PvP.
put into a queue to wait to join. So we can have more characters on a server than 40. We can have, several hundred. But that means people play at different times of day when people join. So there will be a queuing system in place to allow people to wait in line to get into the servers, of course.
right. And you briefly just mentioned it, visiting. So you don't actually have to be on the same, or you don't have to start necessarily in the same server. There are some caveats to it, but let's talk a little bit more about that. How does visiting a friend on another server work?
Well, the first and most important step is to get a friend. This is often achieved by going to a cafe or a movie theater and just striking up a conversation with a random stranger. Then once you have a friend and they are also into Dune Awakening, which is also a big moment. Oh, my mic. Sorry. I have tech support here because my mic sucks. Was I talking too loudly? Or
And
I was just
also, it'd be
scratching.
good to have the visiting friends. We actually have a little,
So I'm actually today,
video
this
or an asset
afternoon,
that
when I
shows that
log
too,
into the
how you
game
can
at
actually
4
visit a
o'clock, I'm going to be
friend.
meeting up with
or not.
Babylonian, some of you know,
Sorry, well, we can talk about
from our
make friends.
community.
How do you
He and I are
make
going to be
friends?
playing
enabled
a
sexy mode now.
multiplayer
now
session this
first of all,
afternoon
how I
Perfect.
make friends
to
is I talk into
showcase
my voice.
some of
Now
how
we
the
have it there.
multiplayer
Okay, so once you've
PvE
made friends, and you can see
content
friends
works,
automatically
because we
because they're
both
added
have
from your
a
Steam
section
list
of
as
the
well.
world
So
we're
if
going
you
to go
have them as a
explore.
friend on Steam,
It's a little
they will show up in your friends list in the game
Imperial
automatically.
Research Station, which
Then
is like
you
a
go
dungeon,
to the friends
and we're going to
page.
go in together.
You
and
simply
work on
click
some
them and
quest
say, "I want to
content.
visit this friend." It
And
will
then we'll be-
teleport you
that'll
to the
be
nearest
part
trade
of the
post to
video
that
content
friend,
that I
because
release
obviously
at the end of the
teleporting
month.
directly to them would be exploitable in infinite amounts of ways.
But it's also an area that I
Once
could
you're
totally
there,
go solo
You
if I
can join
want.
up with your friend, do everything on that siege with them, except for one specific thing, and that is build. You can't claim land. You can build on their base. You can be given ownership of their base and be able to build all the parts of their base, but you don't own the specific land claim. And that's just for database reasons. We need to make sure that we control how many people build in different locations.
Yeah, it's very important.
And
You
then,
can
of
help
course, when
other
you wanna go
players
home,
build
you
their
just push
structures.
escape and choose return
they
to
give
home
you
dimension, and
permissions.
it'll take you back.
Right, and you can also
If you've
do
ever played
contracts
Grounded
and
or
journey steps, like with
multiplayer
your friends
crafting
that way
games,
as well. That will kind of carry
everybody
over
can
when you go
contribute
back
to
to your home
blueprints
world.
if they've been
all
given
of the
permission.
content in the game is
So once you
accessible
set up a
with this
blueprint,
visiting feature, so you can
it
basically do
sets up like a
everything.
holographic
Everything that you
image,
could do
and
in
then
a
you
group,
just
you can
contribute
do,
materials
on
to that
someone else's
holographic
world.
image to
You can do
complete
in
it,
your
and
own world. So
anybody can
there is this
contribute to that
cross-play
holographic
feature for everyone.
image
You'll be able
to
to
build the
work
structure.
together. So
But there
I
has to
think
be
people
one
are
person,
concerned about, like,
or
oh, I won't be able to meet my friends.
if
who
you've
starve,
given
but
multiple people
this shouldn't be a
permissions,
problem. You
anybody
should be
can
able to
start
play with
creating
people,
holographic
even if you're
structures.
not in the same exact siege when you
So
start
there's a
playing.
whole multiplayer. So
We have talked about playing with
Single
your
player and
friends.
multiplayer component
Obviously
to
you
the
can
building
play
as well.
solo, but then there's the usual things that you have in games, groups, guilds. Maybe Leo can talk a little bit about what kind of options are there to play with your friends besides visiting like their server.
Yeah, so let's start with groups. So we saw that a bit
I think
earlier
this is a
in the
guild
previous
house.
segments, right, with group combat. So groups are temporary social structures of up to 4 people. And they come with some benefits like seeing
4-player
your,
groups, by the way.
group member status on the HUD. You see them as markers on the map.
Groups with benefits, huh?
Yeah,
Groups,
exactly.
Love those. Love those.
the best ones.
Convenient, right? So, and then you have standard features like chat connected to that as well. And yeah, makes it more convenient to game with your friends.
Wow, Leo, could you go deeper into chat?
Deeper into chat, yes. So this is a groundbreaking feature that we've developed, right? Never seen before in online games.
Joel's on fire
I
today,
think
man.
more importantly, a more important question, but thank you, Joel.
Sorry.
Like, how many people can be in a group?
Oh, 4.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So the party
Including
leader
the
plus
leader.
3 additional ones, right?
Yeah,
Yes. Compared to guilds.
So guilds are more of long-term social structures, right? So you can be up to 32 players in a guild, and they're structured with hierarchies where you have.
I'm very
one
glad that they're
leader,
limiting
any
guild
number of
size as well, so that we
officers
don't have these
manage
massive
the guild,
1,000-person
and,
guilds.
then a roster of members as well. And guilds, they of course also have this groundbreaking chat feature like that we have.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And yeah, and both parties or groups and the guilds, they are across the world, right? So if you meet some people in the deep desert and you want to game together, you can do that. It doesn't matter if you're on different servers, still works fine. And yeah, something else you can also do with
I think Final
guilds is
Fantasy
that
XIV
once
does a
you
similar
progress
server
through,
structure where they have like
individual,
regions, and then
faction
servers are
alignment
within
far
the
enough,
regions.
you can
And
actually
as
align
long as
your
you're on a
character
server
to,
within a region, you can group with
a specific
anybody across the
faction,
servers of
and,
that region, but you can't
as a continuation
group
of
with
that,
people from
you can
another
pledge the allegiance of your
region, if that
guild
makes sense.
to
I'm
one of
pretty
the,
sure that's how that works here.
major houses. So either
Because they
Now,
have it
Leo, you
worlds,
like to be in
and then the
Atreides,
server's
but I like
called
to be a
sieges,
Harkonnen. And if we're in
which
a-
is a
if we're in
lore
guild
term for
together,
people who don't
and
know.
you pledge allegiance to the Atreides Lord, what's going to happen to me?
You're going to get booted right out of it.
You can make a guild with me. I'm hardcore too, so it's fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hardcore, hardcore. We have to shave our
Let's go
heads, but we're
hardcore.
good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Totally
Don't
fine.
allow mixed guilds.
Totally okay. No,
So
no, it's
faction is important.
No
They were
house
just
mixing
mentioning
in
that
this
you
game.
can't have cross-faction people in your guilds.
We
Guilds
talked
are
about
tied
chat.
to
When
the
you talk about
houses.
chat, you mean actually text chat. However, we do actually have proximity chat as
We
well.
do have proximity voice chat as
proximity
well.
voice chat.
Thankfully, you
Common
can turn
feature of,
proximity chat
survival
off
games.
because that shit
Off
is
by
for the
default.
birds. I do not
you
use
don't have
that
to be
at all.
annoyed by
That's
that
what
person
Discord
when
is
you pass
for.
swearing.
I do
But what
not
is
want to
it?
hear other people.
Anyway,
You
I
can
think
turn
it's
it
fun.
on.
I think, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
voice proximity is
chat
fun. You just,
It's
you know,
super fun.
we got to protect the people's ears.
I know. No, I mean, it's good that you can choose. Some
Yeah,
people don't
you can
like
choose.
it, some
Yeah,
people
I keep
enjoy
it off.
So you can choose. But what we also see there is edit permission. So when we talk about guilds, we do actually have a whole permission system in the game for a whole lot of things, right? Like, tell us a little bit more about that,
Yeah,
Leo.
so survival games commonly have this type of bases, right, that you can build in the world. And
So he's
we have
giving
that as
permission to
well.
other players to his
And,
home base
we
right
have a
now so that they
longer-term
can do things
persistence
with his home base.
than most survival games. So we needed some robust way of sharing access to certain type of assets in the game, right? Like bases, but also vehicles. So here we also have this hierarchical type of system similar to what we have in guilds. So here you can see on screen now for vehicles, for example, where you can add.
Yes,
your
it's not just for
friends,
your structures, it's also for
to,
your vehicles. You
to a
can give your
list,
friends
which
access
gives
to your
them,
vehicles to
some
use
type
them,
of
to
access
mod
depending
them,
on
to whatever.
what you want to promote them to. So they can be associates or they can be co-owners. It's the same system for bases and vehicles.
I don't know if any of
And,
you have played Enshrouded together or
the way
Conan
it's ranked,
Exiles, but you could do
works
similar
is
things
that
in
it
those
comes
crafting
with
survival
a
games where you can set
certain
up,
specific
you can build a
rights.
guild hall,
So, for
give different
example,
people permissions to access chests
for
and or
removing,
build on the
selfie
property.
console here that you see,
All
you
that stuff is here,
require
plus they
owner
have
level
vehicles.
permission. So only the owner of the sub-thief can do that.
So make sure you
You
give.
don't want anyone else doing
No,
that.
you make sure you give the right permissions to,
Yeah.
again, the friends that you can actually trust.
Yeah, you want to be careful. And then we also have this additional level that you can control the specific access level required for each object in your base. So take a door, for example. If you want to set that to only be accessible by you as an owner, you can do that. If you want to set it to be accessible by co-owners or associates, you can do that. But then we also have 2 additional levels. So you can set a door or machine or anything like that to be accessible by any guild member or also by the public. If you want to be nice to the travelers or that are coming by, give them some shelter.
We actually have seen that in the beta. We have like several beta players who just build bases and then open it up to everyone, especially like at the beginning to new players. So they can come in, they can get some water, they can get some basic resources and just, you can do that. You can be a nice guy or a nice
Or you can
girl
trap
or a
them
nice
and
person.
kill them. That's
Yes,
also an
I mean, that's
alternative.
the other thing, like, right,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
How,
depending on...
Could you walk us through how the permission system works for the erotic role-playing crowd?
For that,
Okay,
yeah, that's
so...
another stream, I think.
Okay, let's
Oh,
go.
come on,
Let's
we
get
know they're a
into
huge audience.
so when we go into all this level of control that you have over permissions, and
It's called
it can be a
Only
little
Sans.
bit like intimidating almost. If you go intimidating, you know what is it now?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I understand.
Anyway,
It's for fanatics of
I'm
sand.
intimidated. I'm intimidated.
Shoulders down.
So it can be a little bit intimidating because it feels like a lot of work, but there's actually a more streamlined option that you can do as well, and it makes it a bit more easier to set all these permissions.
Yeah, so we have a lot of assets tied to Joel's scenario here that he painted, and you want to
Assets
give.
tied.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to give access to a lot of bases and vehicles used for his scenario, then you can open the profile for a friend, for example, that you want to give access to a lot of assets. And it's a simple list where you can click, okay, I want to give this person access to that base, that base, that base, and these 3 vehicles, and it's done from a distance. So it's very convenient to set up.
Absolutely.
Also, a lot
I
of
think this is
management.
actually, we have actually
for
one last thing. We have
person in charge.
a little overview visual that shows where in the world we have our
A
worlds.
server farm.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
There we go.
So, I mean, this is where we're going to have servers at launch across the world. So, people can see. I mean, the one in Australia, it's actually kind of on the east coast because it's closer to Sydney. And I see that the Australian name is in the wrong place, but that's okay. I don't
It's
expect,
fine. We're
I don't
only
expect
talking.
it.
We're
No one,
only
no one in
talking
the
top
northern
level.
hemisphere gives a shit
It's
about my
fine.
country.
We're not
But it's-
talking about the actual locations right now.
but
We're
we
just
will
talking
have
about high
we
level.
will have servers in all of these countries and locations, so
Is he from Australia?
people will
Pick
have the
and
best possible ping. I think the most
I guess
screwed people
I
are
never
in South
paid attention to
Africa.
where Joel's from.
But we also believe that because they don't know where they parked their car because they're South African and they speak Afrikaans, they can connect quickly to South America. It's fine. It's fine. That's usually the best ping for them.
Perfect. Okay, but you'll see.
We'll probably be
have
doing
tons
Central
of options for you to
US.
choose from to make sure you have competitive ping at least.
Ping doesn't matter unless you're doing
Of
PvP,
course,
so-
very important. Since
I've
we
actually been playing
quite
on
a lot
the
of people interested
European
in PvP as well.
beta
Yep.
servers quite frequently.
But
I have a character on
I
the
think
European beta
that's
servers
it
and
for
a
the
character on
actual
the US beta
segments.
servers. The
Joel,
ping
thank you
is
so much for
like
your
30, 40
contribution to the
milliseconds
stream.
different,
We
and
always
it doesn't matter when
appreciate
you're
it.
playing PvE.
A pleasure to be here.
I'll
today.
be talking to HR tomorrow, but no,
Again?
it's okay. It's all fine. Again, it's like my 10th complaint. No, also Leo, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
your time
and,
as well.
thank
Actually,
you.
we will see you again shortly,
Yep.
because after a quick break, we actually go into our Q&A. Leo will be back. Joel will unfortunately not be here for the Q&A. We will have you on the stream again.
Yeah,
Don't
and
worry about it.
to the
Once he
audience,
calmed a little bit down from his caffeine overdose. I don't know.
To the audience, I hope you enjoyed the dry humor. That's how we roll on Arrakis. You
The
know?
vibing, the dry
The
humor.
dry
of
humor on
Arrakis.
Arrakis.
Super Arrakeen to do this live stream today.
Oh dear God. Okay, yeah, let's just go with the video. Beautiful Arrakis.
I've seen this video. I'm going to take this moment to duck out. I'll be right back. Haga Rift is one of the coolest places in the game, especially when you get an ornithopter and you can do the verticality and you can go down into these caves and fly around and shit. It's pretty awesome. But getting an ornithopter it's a lot of work to get to vehicles, man. I mean, if you're gonna get into this game, you're gonna need to. It's a time commitment. Like, it's not, storyline wise, you could probably expect, 60 to 80 hours maybe. It's hard to judge because it just depends on certain factors, like how much of an exploration are you going to do. But that's just like story stuff, because if you're going to get into like the building and blueprints and crafting all the different vehicles, and it's a hundreds of hours game. Plus it's got the online component. So if you're going to get into the social side, and they still haven't announced the
we are
console
still
stuff
preparing
yet.
a few things behind the
And
scenes
crossplay for
our
all the
Q&A.
servers.
But I have now Viljar and Leo back to answer your questions. Before we do that, again, for those of you who have joined us
As soon as
later,
this is over, we're getting back to
you
Baldur's
might
Gate
have
3,
heard
so
about the
hopefully you're
fact that
sticking
we have
around,
been
folks.
moving the release date of Dune Awakening 3 weeks back to the 10th of June with a head start starting on the 5th of June, which is not cause for any concern. It's really just because we
Just more
want to add
polish.
some more polish to some of the things in the game, and it gives that opportunity. Additionally, we also will have the opportunity to do a large-scale beta. So many of you will have
that's
the
a
chance to actually try out the game
that's
for
cool. They're going to do an
themselves.
open beta.
That won't be under an NDA, so we will be able to show, you'll be able to stream, you'll be able to do videos and all that good stuff.
I'll definitely stream the open beta.
Actually, I have a question for you too. Like, what is your favorite thing in the game to do when you actually
I don't
play?
know
When
that
you
they've
look at
announced
it
a date
as a
for that yet,
player,
or maybe they
like,
do during this video.
Like, turn off your developer brain. Is that working? Does that actually work? Can you do that and play the game? And if you do that, what is your favorite thing to do?
So for me, I love the fact that the game is so much more than one thing. It's not just a game about combat. It's like we have all these
Not
different
yet,
elements.
but
You have,
it
the
has
way
been
that we
announced that it is
harvest,
coming to
both
the PS5 and the Xbox
just
Series
water
X
and,
later this year.
and resources, things like that. Then you can
It's
mix it
PC
up and
only
go
at the
to
start.
an ecolab like we just saw. And then I really like how things come together. You might be driving away from a sandworm, and then suddenly there's a sandstorm on the way. You drive past an enemy camp and they start shooting at you.
Sandstorms are
Suddenly
intense, by
you're-
the way. That's a
you're,
cool
you
feature
run
that they
out
haven't
and
really
you try
touched
to
on
take
in
care
this
of them.
video.
You get hit by heat stroke, and then it's like, okay, the sandstorm was upon me. I have to find shelter, but I also
The
have to take out these
sandworms,
enemies. Like I like
sandstorms.
fast games where you have a lot of second-to-second decisions to make. And
I
think
can't wait
and I
for
think
the
that
embargo to
game
drop so that I can
beautifully supports that.
start publishing all these
What about
videos
you,
I've been
Leo?
recording, because
Yeah, so
there's
I've
some really
actually
cool
started
stuff.
a new playthrough last week, playing quite a bit, and now what I'm really enjoying now is setting up my base production facilities and the related mining activities that come from that. So, especially the vehicle mining, I'm having a good time with that. Going around in my buggy, going up in the turret, finding mining nodes to get my resources from, and
It can
that's
be
fun.
very relaxing too. Like that's
Yeah.
one of the things that you mentioned that to me earlier, actually, when we talked a little bit as well, and I totally agree with that. That we have both the combat aspect that is very like nerve wracking, can be like get your pulse up, and then we have the mining who can be actually very zen with like following those lines and things. And I really like that.
And then there's the
kinda,
whole crafting element.
juxtaposition
I don't know how
of
many
things
of you are
as well.
familiar with
Yeah,
Conan
we actually
Exiles, but
spent
you
a
should
lot
go
of
to the
time
Conan
and effort
Exiles
trying to
social
make
media
the
pages.
harvesting
Like
the cutter
on
rate to make
Facebook
it
in particular,
work
I know
and
they have
be, like you said,
huge
like sand-like and
folders
everything
set
like
up
that. And
for the
although there is some
community
progression
builds that
on-
people have gone
on
into,
the
because that
patterns
game's been out for
you-
quite a
that you
while now,
harvest,
and
but, from,
all of the
but
various
it still needs
structures
to
that
be
people
sand-like,
can
because
build.
the thing is, hopefully you'll be playing this game for thousands of hours, and having something that is that intense.
People get pretty
all the
creative
time,
with the build
Yeah.
structure.
I just didn't think that would be right
They've
for
got a
the
No,
game.
it's
benchmark
exhausting.
thing
Yeah,
already up
exactly.
on
So
their
you have
Steam
combat,
page,
if you
JK. So
want
if you're
that
wondering how your
experience, but then
computer
if you
will
wanna
handle it,
relax a
you can
little
go to the
bit
Steam
and just
page for
chill,
Dune Awakening
can,
and
as you
download
say,
the
go with your
benchmark
buggy and
tool,
harvest.
and it'll show you how
Yeah,
well
so
your PC
what's
will
going on right
handle
now
it
is that
at
I'm
launch.
looking, okay, what's the next tech that I want to get to, right? Okay, what do I need for that? I need this thing, this thing, this thing. Oh, I have these already, right? I went out to some expeditions earlier, but these two things are new. I wonder where I'm going to get those. Okay, so I hop in my buggy and I drive out and I hunt for resources.
Yeah.
And it turns into an adventure.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit too adventurous. I lost my bike yesterday, but
Oh yeah,
back
I know
to
that
it.
feeling. I think everyone goes through that at least once. So
Yeah.
like it's just kind of part of the experience, the Dune
Yeah.
Awakening experience.
I got my lesson.
But I think
Yeah,
we're actually ready
don't
for the
ride your
questions.
bikes near
Another
worms.
thing I just wanted to mention before we go into questions is like what I really love is the weird things that can happen. Like we saw that, like actually you posted that, I think, where you were driving through the desert. You were looking for the worm, and there was like a crash, like one of the dynamic ships that can crash and like crash down onto the surface, crashed like literally like 2 meters next to you, and you had no idea that was coming down. That was just like it's moments like this that I find incredibly engaging and fun, like these type of things that can happen. Anyway, so we are ready for some questions. We have the first question from Orange Shire. Can the player select which siege they got to connect to as their home dimension, or it's randomly assigned?
No, it's
Yeah, so you get
select it.
to choose your worlds, and in that world there are many servers which are the sieges, and you can pick the siege that you actually want to connect to. So you don't have to do it in any order, and you don't, and it's not randomly assigned.
Right, and you can talk to your friends again, like to make sure they're on the same siege
Yeah.
for that,
Yeah,
or
it's a good
at least
idea.
in the same world as well, because then
Yeah.
you can still visit and all that.
Yeah, you want to align on that before you start, so you pick the
For
right
sure.
one.
Yes, for sure, absolutely. I'm gonna butcher these usernames again. I apologize beforehand if I do. CF Olsen, CF Olsen. If you already align to one house, can you later change it to align with the same house as the guild is? So basically, if you can change, right? If your guild is another alignment.
Yeah, you can. You can betray your house.
But only once.
Once. They won't take that lightly, so you better think about this really carefully. Like,
Yeah.
what align you first and
Yeah,
if
it's
you
frowned
betray.
upon.
Yep. They don't.
I am House
like that
Atreides
very
all
much.
the way.
P
Fucking
Dragon
Harkonnens.
76 asks, can you progress far without PvP, or is
Yes.
this game mainly
Nope.
going to be around PvP?
Nope.
So you can play in the survival area, the survival game map that we have, which is 8 by 8 kilometers, and you don't have to PvP at all in that. Now going to the deep desert, you don't have to PvP. It's just that you run the risk of PvP. And as what I talked about earlier is that we have all these tools where you can quickly get away. So the goal was that people who don't want to PvP may still go there for the loot, but be on the lookout for enemies coming, and then just drive away really fast, or you using your ornithopter as you would to get away, or if you get jumped, use your abilities to get away. So we didn't want to have people be ganked very early on, and we thought that, well, at this point you played the game for 100 hours, so you probably know your way around the disruptor, right? So when you get there, people who will PvP you, but they will actually meet people who know how to play the game. So
That's
the
why
goal.
the
Now, not everyone
PvP is pretty
going
much
to love
only
that,
related
but-
to the
but,
in-game,
like
late game,
PvP, but
and it's
you
100%
can then
optional.
run away, as I said, you don't have to engage with them to get the things.
It's almost as if you
And they've answered this before. You
decide
can
to opt into
complete
PvP, you actually
100%
put
of the
yourself at a
story of
higher
the game
risk than someone that says, I'm
by
only gonna
yourself
play PvE in
the PvE
game.
area,
And also,
in the
we haven't actually talked about,
well, he talked about the
end
PvE
game
area
and the
that's 8
launch
kilometers by 8
system,
kilometers.
which does have PvP, but you can actually also
There
influence
are
that
dungeons that
with
you can go into
PvE as
within
well.
that
So
area
it's
that are
not
PvP
all
dungeons,
PvP at all. So there's a lot of
but
options
they're
for PvP
clearly
players as
marked,
well.
and you know when
definitely.
you're
You can
going
play
in
the game
here.
for hundreds, thousands of hours without engaging in PvP.
You can
easily.
play hundreds and thousands of hours without ever doing PvP. That's very important. It's a,
Oh my god, now I'm outing myself as an old woman. Unpaid Taxi, is that the name? That is the name, that's fantastic, love it. Unpaid Taxi asks, is the slow blade automatic?
nope.
So we have two main attacks for the blade, like the basic ones. If you don't have any skills.
So
or
like what I'm
abilities
going to be doing this
associated with it.
afternoon
So
when I go
we have
record the
quick
session,
attack,
we're doing.
and then we call
It's
it the
a
stab, even
solo-
though it's
it's
with
a
the sword
story
and everything,
dungeon.
Everything you can do the slow blade. There. So you can do the quick
And
attack, which is
anybody can
effective
go
to
into it.
stagger
Other players
enemies,
can go
so
into
you
it.
get time to
But they
actually
can't
deliver
interact. They
the
can't
slow blade.
impact your
Now,
gameplay
if
because we're in the
you
solo environment.
use the
So
slow
other
blade
players
on
can
an
come in.
unshielded enemy,
They can also be
you will
killing the
have
mobs at the same time as
a
me,
quick
but they
and
can't
then-
impact
no.
me or touch me.
I'm gonna lose
It's just
the
an
thread
area.
here.
But I'm
it
going to be
works
going in
differently.
with
So
a friend
basically you will-
and doing a
yeah.
duo experience this afternoon.
The slow blade is automatic in the sense that it will trigger if you do a stab, so to speak. I guess
Basically,
that's the way to get away with it.
it's a special. You do it as a special attack, so it's
Yeah.
a special. Like you hold your mouse button.
Yes,
basically
you
for
just
a
hold
long
the
time,
attack.
just
It's like a
click it, so
strong
it's
attack.
a special trigger.
That's
and then
what is the
animation
slow attack.
will play
You
itself out, but it
pull the
doesn't
button on
automatically
the
happen. You
controller.
have
It's
to trigger
literally
it,
Yeah,
actually.
stab, stab, stab,
Yeah,
stab,
you look for
stab,
opportunity, right,
hold
and all.
to do the slow
There,
attack.
I can get
It's that
the
simple.
timing in right. Okay, now I hold, and now I get the slow blade.
Yeah, and also it takes quite a long time to actually execute a slow blade because it's called slow blade. So you have to make sure your enemies either staggered or they do something that they don't immediately can retaliate, right? So I think
Yeah,
that's
'cause it's
also,
a-
I think I can explain what I tried to say earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you go against an unshielded enemy, you will hold for a bit, so it will be akin to a heavy attack, and then you'll do it fast. Whereas with the slow blade, you go fast in, and then the slow is on the when you actually connect through the shield.
So yes, actually that's correct, because you have the heavy attack plus the slow blade, and those happen differently, like if you're up against a shielded enemy or not a shielded enemy. That's kind of what you meant.
The procedure to trigger it is the same. It's just that it's contextual whether someone has a shield or not.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Dune Awakening the past week.
Sorvina Savage.
When they finally gave us permission to record our own footage, I was like, okay, I'm finally ready to like start sinking man hours in, because I've been, I've been dabbling, but
Leo, for example,
I couldn't record all my own footage, and I've been very open about this with everybody for years. Like, I don't play offline stuff because I make money by being live. But if I'm able to record the footage, then I'm totally happy to invest the time up front because I get to air it later on.
That's extremely detailed. I don't have the answer for that. And as we balance things, that might go up and down. I don't have the exact numbers.
The numbers.
I don't think it's a major concern, at least the difference, right?
No. I'm always fairly cheap, so you will loot some of it, and the rest you will just pull out your cut array, harvest a couple of scrap metal piles, and then you have plenty so that you can quickly craft them on your person. So it's pretty trivial. It's
not actually a resource that's very important compared to like stamina, ability cooldowns, and other things, right?
Yeah.
In the context of things.
I do miss being on stage
Black
occasionally.
Lion Apps is awesome. Can I swap active skills during combat?
So you can swap your skills. However, if they're on a cooldown, you'll not be allowed to swap them.
Okay. Tyler, that's easy for once. Tyler's asking, can you learn all skills available in the game? So Master Trooper, so on.
You cannot actually. You can go pretty far down in several of them, or you can go to the end of a few of them, but you won't be able to get all the skills from all the trees.
Yeah, we actually had that at one point, that we were able to get everything, but then we made it much more interesting also with the I call them cornerstones, but the capstone skills, yeah. So you actually will have to make decisions in terms of where do you spend your points. I personally really like that. I think it's more interesting as well. That's Serena Savage again. Will NPCs pick targets based on threats, closest player, or use tactics?
They definitely use tactics.
Again, that's also quite specific. I wish Alex was here. So they're like, with these things, there's always a combination, and you weight things.
They've got
so
some pretty cool AI.
Someone might have a higher threat at a longer distance. Who do you deal with? So we have weighted this, so it's like it should feel natural, the way that it works. But again, I don't have the exact numbers for how that's balanced.
The thing is, I actually asked Alex that question, I think yesterday during one of our chats as well, and he said what you just said too, though. Like, the NPCs are actually taking several aspects into consideration. How far is that player away? How much damage? How big of a threat is that character? Like, what kind of abilities did they use previously and all that? So there's quite of a complex mechanic behind how NPCs will react to you.
They do have tactics, so they change how they play.
We actually saw that during today's
if there's more
stream that they showed off. Like the solo dungeon, the enemy NPCs were very dumb.
NPC might not be as aggressive in the early
and then the
game
group-based dungeon that they went and did, the NPCs were much smarter, much more aggressive. They were using more abilities. They were flanking more often. They were doing lots more.
Asking, will Sodakars be killable, or are they meant to be the ultimate enemy?
Oh, they're killable.
So we have the Sardaukar dropships, but Chom mercenaries drop from them. So you will kill them, but they are not proper Sardaukar.
You're just not important enough early on, specifically, that they would deal with you.
Yeah.
They just sent there.
If you kill Sardaukar, that would be part of. It's not the normal approach.
Don't spoil anything.
Yeah, exactly. You won't.
Maybe you'll have to find out.
They're not part of the normal NPC roster, so to speak.
They actually showed this off earlier.
Matt asks, are there any hunter seekers in the game to use?
Indeed, they are the last ability in one of the trees.
Yes,
I can tell you which tree, but I'm not going to.
No, we don't do that. But we've actually shown the hunter seeker in a few gameplay or in like early videos.
Yeah.
We haven't shown the hunter seeker today in the combat sections. Actually, we used.
Oh, I thought they did.
but
Yeah.
it's absolutely in the
We
game.
used its sibling, the Assault Seeker.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
that's
The one
why,
we saw the
okay.
ability that
Yeah.
Alex in his solo gameplay was like throwing.
But yes, we do have the Hunter Seeker.
Wonder Drakias is asking, can you
Oh, yeah.
extract blood from enemies like
Yes.
you do in the movies?
They just didn't show it
Yes,
today.
you can indeed. It's
They
you
just
will
show
be
the
doing that
icon.
a lot as you build your base, and you refine blood to actually use as water for things that you craft, and also for hydration.
You kind of start with a rusty needle and the bag at the beginning, and then you kind of
all the way.
as you learn more secrets to the desert, you
Yeah,
might
exactly.
The
also
quality of
learn a
life
few
progression
more.
is
Yeah.
very.
You can
It feels
even
very
build
good,
blood.
even in the beta
Yes.
right now.
It will
They definitely make
hydrate
you work for
but
it,
there are some
but-
side effects.
Yeah, it's not super advised, but you can go. You
Like
can
when you
also-
first get when you get your
what I
first still
personally hate,
suit,
you can also use mud
and you no
and
longer
drink
now
milk.
suddenly
This is
you're
true.
able to
You
like
can,
have a catch pack.
You can harvest the
for
mud, it's
water.
I hate
You
it.
do what
Not
you have to
okay.
do.
Not
And
okay with that. I'm
You
not
can
okay
actually
with that.
it's a
Putting it
huge
out there
game
right now.
changer for the survival element.
Slucker, can you attack players of your same faction?
Yes, you can. So what I think I mentioned earlier is that in a group you won't do damage much to your friends in your group, but the people in your guild who may be attached to a faction, you can damage them when you're in the PvP area.
All right, that was it for today. Viljar, Leo, again,
Cool.
thank you so much for your time.
Well, we're about
and
to go
for
back
sitting
and play
down
some
with
more
us
Baldur's
to
Gate
chat
3,
about
everybody.
Dune Awakening. Super exciting. Thanks for answering questions.
I may
Thanks
go
for
ask
talking
Chris to make
about,
some more coffee though,
your
'cause we got a
segments
marathon
as
stream
well.
today.
And,
My leg's not feeling
thank you
too bad right now,
everyone
so we're
for
only 4
watching.
hours in.
Thank you for putting up
We're
with
gonna
our
celebrate our
hiccups here and
50,000
there.
subs,
We'll
so
improve over time. Those
do
are
a
our
longer
second
stream
stream.
today,
We'll
see how far we
have
can
more
go.
coming up. Also, of course, more opportunities for you to ask questions. You can still pre-order the game. You can wishlist the game on Steam. Follow us on our social channels, Dune Awakening, for all of them. And as always, stay hydrated. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your
Don't
day.
get eaten by the worm.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cool. Well, for those of you who want to know more information about Dune Awakening, as stated, check out all their information, check out their website. If you're watching this on YouTube after this video gets cut out from the stream, there will be links down below, including the links to my Dune Awakening playlist, which has everything that I've covered up to date around the game, including videos from closed alpha. Now, I'm currently being allowed to mention that I am in a limited preview beta event where I am recording my own footage for the very first time, and that footage will be airing at the end of the month when the embargo goes down for those of us who are part of that special 2-week preview event. I've got a ton of videos already uploaded. I've already got like 12 videos uploaded. I'm doing episodes 13 and 14 today, and I do plan on having at least 30, if not 40 videos ready to go by the end of the month to come out. So just make sure you stay tuned here because I'll have tons more Dune Awakening guides, overviews, discussion videos, let's play sessions, first impressions, early thoughts, and more around this game. And yes, I will be playing this. Will I be forming a guild? I've been asked that. The short answer is that I have zero desire to be in charge of any sort of people management, but I may be forming a loose structure for people who want to just play together and have fun without there being any management to it at all. But I'm very protective of my personal space because of trolls and people who have tried to disrupt my streams with foul language and racism and things of that nature by trying to sneak things into chat and guild chat and all that other stuff. So I'm not sure how we're going to be doing that, but we will be doing something for people who want to be, grouping up and having fun together. So stay tuned for all that stuff as we get closer to the announcement of the launch date, which I think is not the announcement of, but the actual launch date, which is June 10th right now. And then I'll have Head Start access, so I'll be starting on the 5th of June. But we got a lot of other content to get to before we get to that point, so just stay tuned. And follow along. Daily streams at 5 a.m. Central on YouTube and Twitch. And then we do about 5-6 hours in the morning and come back and do a couple hours in the afternoon. Although today we're just going to be going straight through because it is a special day since we're celebrating 50,000 subs on YouTube. We're getting close to 3K on Twitch, so make sure you follow along there as well. And if you're watching on Twitch right now, don't forget that everything in between the streams happens over on YouTube, including all the game guides, discussion videos, and beyond. And that is the end of the Dune Awakening part. Let me get the Xbox spun up again.